Hello, friends. We're back. November 12th, 2023, Virtual Strangers episode 204 is on. I am your host, Wes. With me, as always, are my good friends. What's up, Bruce? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Sunday night. It's Sunday. It's Sunday right now. I'm getting mixed up. It's been crazy, man. Time is flying. Starting mid-May. No, it's not.
Mid-May.
I just want spring to be here. And we're at the beginning of the winter, man. Mid-November. And it's crazy.
Eric, we have literally 5 weeks to go before winter starts, bro. And you have not a care in the world.
Hold on. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. People are saying there's an echo on you, and I think it might be somehow tied to Eric's mic. I don't know. Look at the mic whenever I talk. How it's. I like how Wes is just like. Yeah, and we're
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Am I echoing or is just Wes?
Hold on a second. No, it's definitely. So I have you muted, Eric, for a second there. So it's definitely, if you look at the bar, it's moving whenever Matt or Wes and I are talking. So what we'll have to do is do.
So what?
Well, you're in Discord, but that's.
It has nothing to do with your Discord, though. We're not capturing audio from Discord. How many channels do you have going in Ninja? We talked about this. Is it still bumping Roots?
Okay, let me say, yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, because I see how it's moving and it's
Pull your game back. Whatever you did, Eric, reverse it.
But then he's quiet. Yeah, I muted Eric. They're not hearing the echo now. I didn't want to submit you guys to it. No, it's a little bit more delayed, maybe. But what we can do is let me just mute Wes, and then I'll unmute the audio, and then I'll have to adjust, and hopefully I can adjust you guys in the Discord. And but if you, well, I got to change this. It's going to come through everything is going to come through my head, whatever's going through my headphones. So you guys are tied together. You guys are symbiotic.
So you're capturing Discord then, basically.
Correct. Absolutely.
All right.
Why would
that will work?
That's so weird.
I don't know, but this is why I leave that audio output capture in the scene and don't take it out altogether, because I just got tired of, when the audio wants to just act up, I say fuck you and I just switch it and we'll just move on from there.
I don't know, man. At least it's working now. At least we always have a fallback. That's what comes, Roots, with 4 years of experience. We still haven't gotten to the point where something doesn't fuck up every week, but we are at the point now that when that something does fuck up, we can fix it quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why you always see me constantly scanning the chat, because when something like that happens, I need to know immediately and fix it before, because if I'm not paying attention, then it could be, it's extra low. What is extra low?
Eric's low.
Oh, well,
I literally haven't changed anything.
Well,
I don't get it.
Here's the good news.
I don't understand.
Here's
why. If I change stuff, I would be like, okay, I can understand. Okay, so I made some adjustments, and now the things get fucked up. But literally, I haven't touched anything.
Here's the good news, because it's coming through Discord. Again, I can say fuck you to the audio problem, and I can just turn you up, and then we can fix it.
That is a good thing, because you can drive Eric up to 200 now, right?
Yeah, I can. I mean, it might be really loud in my ear, but then we'll see. But yeah, it's they should be able to hear better.
Man.
Yeah,
pisses me off every week.
Wes,
I hear what you were saying. I get what you were saying, that I don't have to worry about winter anymore, and I can prove it because I got a big old sunburn today.
Nice.
I was hanging outside for most of the day, and man, I still got it's almost 90 some 91 today. 90, 91,
Oh, that's
91.
awesome.
That's ridiculous. It's right here, right now. It is 35 degrees.
Yeah.
35 in Kentucky? That so in New York, it's got to be like 10 degrees.
Probably.
Yeah, and it's a cesspool. Man, you got out there at the
Schlubs.
right time.
Those schlubs back
Tech
in
needs
New
to get
York.
out.
Yeah,
You know what the
Tech,
good
not in
thing
New-
is,
not in
though.
New Jersey.
You know what the good thing is, though, Roots, is it's good VR weather here right now, right? Like we can put headsets on and not smother to fucking death, which is going to be the case 0% of the time for you, Eric, for the rest of your life. So congrats on that.
It's amazing because I have the best air conditioning in the world. I can set it for 70 degrees.
Air conditioners are not real, bro. We
Ugh.
this has been a years long discussion in VR communities. No one who has VR apparently has air conditioners.
I'll tell
I
you
guess
what.
not.
This summer was the best with that new unit I got, my window unit. That's like sitting right there. It's so overpowered for my room, and it was actually the first year I didn't have to worry about that, which is nice. I don't know why I waited so long.
Yeah, yeah, air conditioners are wonderful. I highly recommend them to people out there who have trouble playing VR in the summertime. It's great. You don't have to go outside ever, and you can just stay in and be comfortable and play VR and pretend like you're outside.
Yeah, going to Kayak VR, enjoy some weather.
Oh, what a great game.
Oh yeah, best top 25 list
Eh,
for sure.
Anyway, we're back here again on Sunday doing yet another mega show. And I know you people, or at least some of you out there, probably think that we're full of shit when we come on here every week and tell you that shit happens that keeps us from going on Friday. But man, shit happens that keeps us from going on Friday. For example, some of you might remember that last week my dad was in and I had to take him to doctor's appointments, which went pretty well. And he went back home. He lives about 3.5 hour drive from here. But midweek this week, I get a call from the hospital and says he's got to come back now. Like it's dire. Like don't take your time. He needs to come and get admitted into the hospital now. His kidneys are almost not working at all, and he's got problems. We already knew that. That's why I went to the doctor. But yeah, I had to take my dad to the hospital this past Friday, and that's not all. Eric, how did your weekend go?
So yeah, I mean, like my wife had we had a death in my wife's family, and it was somebody that's here in Florida, so we're like one of the only family here now. So yeah, it was like my wife's cousin's aunt, who was like my wife's aunt. Yeah, she passed away like suddenly, like literally, she went into the hospital with like a chest cold, and they diagnosed her with cancer, lung cancer,
Wow.
and 5 days later, 4 days later, she passed. So. Those things happen.
Diagnosis, and then 5 days after diagnosis. I mean, that
Insane.
is
Yeah.
tough,
No, I
man.
mean, she was elderly. I mean, she was elderly, but still, I mean, she was in fairly good health until that point, you know what I mean? And
Right.
it's just you
Crazy.
just never know how fast things go. And then even this week, this week was happened to be my anniversary was this week too. So
Happy anniversary to Eric. Happy 21st birthday to Wise Director, although he'll never see this. He shares a birthday with Spry Guy, and they both turned 21 this week. So
That's crazy,
congratulations for
man.
that.
Spry looks really
congratulations.
good for 21, dude.
Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, yeah, like I was saying, stuff happens, and it kept us from doing a show again on Friday. Although I I was pretty committed to doing it, even if we weren't prepared for one. Like I came home and crammed really quickly, and ended up playing a game, and was just going to stream another one. But again, shit happens, and Roots had to work super early on Saturday, so we couldn't really go on late. Like I would have needed to go on super late. So it just didn't work out. So I assure you that we haven't given up on the idea of doing 2 shows a week. We still want to do 2 shows every week, but it just hasn't been working out like that. And considering how close we are to going on our holiday break, I mean, I think it's pretty realistic to say at this point that we might not get 2 more shows in a week for the rest of the year. We're going to try, But I mean, if it doesn't happen in the next 2 or 3 weeks, then that's going to be it. But the good news is that we do not shortchange you. If we don't go live on Friday, we come in on Sunday with banger mega show, and you can go back and look over the last 3 weeks. We're doing 4-hour episodes on Sunday just to make sure we're getting all the news in, we're getting all the game impressions in, we're delivering for you. So you're not missing out. You're just having to kind of get it all at once, and maybe a little bit later on Sunday than we would like to go. But we're getting it done. So I feel pretty good about it. Roots, I feel pretty good about tonight's show. I think we've got a good one lined up.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. You know who else loves to get it done and doesn't mind doing it all at once?
My mom.
Oh yeah, man, she really does.
Yeah, she does.
Yes, she does. I heard Dee was doing a lot of yes, she does. That Todd wasn't there and she had to do all the yes, she
She had to
does.
do them all. She had
She-
to do she had to do my mom. She had to do yeah, she does, and she had to do Orland Hooper's Jacked.
Orland
She was like-
Hooper's jacked,
She was
yo.
she was like my own personal XLR, man.
Just hit the D button. You know who
You know who
else
else?
likes? Yeah, she
My
does.
mom.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Let me show you something. You guys are gonna love this.
Oh boy, I can't even imagine what this is gonna be.
Dee says, you know who else is known for a mega banger?
My mom.
Man, she's
Yeah.
busy.
Mega banger.
What's he gonna bring out? 4090.
I don't know, but I like the Swarm shirt.
I
So
do
we've
too.
been we've been pretty publicly trying our best to avoid Power Wash Simulator over the last few weeks. And Eric, 2 weeks ago, offered us a key for it. We politely declined because Roots and I interest hasn't been super high to play this one. But then, as we mentioned last week, the developers reached out and sent us a key, which made me
Oh.
feel kind of bad. You know, after saying that we didn't want to cover it, then they sent us a key. So they sent us a key, and I'm like, well, okay, maybe we'll play it before Game of the Month November comes. So this past week comes around, and I get a box in the mail.
Oh, did you get it?
And open up the box, and there's this super nice Power Wash Simulator hoodie in my mailbox from our friends at In
Nice.
Dreams. And it's a super nice, high quality hoodie, as you know, it typically is from stuff that comes from M Dreams is always top notch. But,
It was lovely. Mine showed up in New York, Wes. Mine is on my doorstep
Cool.
of my home in New York.
They sent me this card here. That says it's from Future Lab, which is the developer, but I saw the shipping label. It came from In Dreams. I know who sent this to me.
Mhm.
But they also sent this ding button. And this is what I remember when you said we're talking about the D button. I literally have the D button here.
Nice.
Mm.
Who
He's
doesn't
hitting
love the D button?
Yeah, who doesn't love the D button? And who doesn't love Power Wash Simulator? Chatty says apparently it's been getting good reviews, and
People love it.
I still have zero interest in it. I still stand by what I said about it, not because I never said anything bad about it. I still think it could be a good game. I just don't see myself having fun in it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. It is what it
I guess
is.
I'm gonna
But
have to find out. I guess I'm gonna have to find out now. It is our friends at In Dreams after all, and they've been so good to us over the years. So you know, it may be and likely will be a game of the month time before we talk about it. But I'm gonna get in and I'm gonna give it an hour, man, and see how it goes. We'll give it a fair shot. All right.
yeah,
It's
The
actually not.
best I can do.
It's not terrible. Like I thought I was gonna
Come
absolutely
on,
hate it and
bro.
like shit on it. It's
come on,
not.
man.
Roots.
It's not
Roots.
something I'd want to
Listen
jump
to
back
this guy.
into, but it's not.
Look,
It's not like it's not horrible. Like I thought I was gonna go in there and just it was gonna be horrible. It's not horrible. It's just kind of boring.
listen to this guy, Roots. Like he could not wait. He couldn't shit on Ghostbusters fast enough.
It's bad.
The Power Wash Simulator comes out, and it's literally just fucking spraying shit in VR. And he's like, "It ain't that bad."
But
It's
this is the thing,
they're
and
about the same level, I gotta say, because Ghostbusters is that bad.
well, this is the thing, and I get it that a lot of people enjoy it, and if that's your thing, and you get enjoyment, and it's peaceful, and all the things that people say about it, that rave about this game or love it, is great. But that doesn't change the fact that what Eric just said is key for me. I'm not looking for a meal at a restaurant that's not bad. I'm not looking for a
Uh,
game that's not that bad or not that terrible. Or I just I value my time more than just about everything, and I'm sure it's really cool, but it's just not. I didn't get the package, so I don't have to go into it. Let's put it that way. I'll let Wes.
You're like, oh, I gotta do it.
I'll let Wes take the bullet for me. And if Wes raves about it and says, "Man, Roots, you need to check this out," then I'll go in and check it out. But we'll
there
see.
you go. Isn't it multiplayer, Eric?
It is. You can get a couple people in there.
Ah, Roots.
It wouldn't be that
There we
bad.
go.
Like I said, if you could go in there and if you could get music in there, and like you could hang out and do music and like listen to your own music, and just go in there with somebody and hang out and do it, it would probably be okay.
I would love it if you could give me like Stormwind or Orgrimmar, like a World of Warcraft town. Then I'd go to town in there and clean that shit up. You got
See,
to clean.
that's my thing. I thought you said Stormland, and here's my thing. Like, I could play Stormland.
Yeah, yeah. There's a
You know
lot
what
of
I
games
mean?
you could be out there playing.
I could go finish Vertigo 2. I could go finish Resident Evil 8. I could start on the hundreds of hours of Gran Turismo 7. You know, or I could go power wash a giant turtle on a playground.
Vertigo 2. My God, dude. What an amazing game. I went into a little bit of it, and then I can't wait to get back into it. So
Yeah, it's
Look
that
at Betty
season,
said she
right?
found herself in there for 2 hours, Wes.
you did? You were in there?
Betty,
Yeah,
Betty
Oh,
Creepy Bird says, I'm
for
guilty.
you.
I found myself in there for about 2 hours.
well, I've heard it's the type of game that you can get sucked into, and I mean, if it's peaceful, and this is the thing, not every game is for everybody. So when I say that I'm going to avoid it, that doesn't mean it's a bad game. It just means it's not my type of game. I know it. And that doesn't if let the reviews speak for itself. If there's that many people that love it, it must be good, right? So,
I could go to the Museum of Other Realities for 2 hours with a group of friends if I want, or by myself.
yeah, that's true. I wonder if they have any new stuff since we've been in. It's been a couple of
Oh,
years,
I
right?
guarantee it. I guarantee it. Like, it's an active museum, a real life metaverse location that you can go and take in digital art. So it's I'd be surprised if it isn't just as amazing now as it was the other 10 times that I've been in there.
You could go into GTA 5, which I did last night. Got the mod working with
Oh, did you really?
yeah, it was I don't know, some one of the people out of the Mick, I think, put a YouTube video from he's in that community, and I followed it, got it all running, and I was actually trying to get that AI. There's an AI mod that you can get that you can talk to.
Ooh,
Yeah, you can talk to the verbally talk to the not only talk to the AI people in the game, but it like puts some kind of a campaign in there, a mini campaign where you get to have like a police officer partner and patrol and do some pretty cool stuff. But I can't like, man, I don't know if Tony's deaf or if like I'm mute, but he can't hear me, and that's a problem. And so like, but I'm very interested to see if I can get it working because I think it'd be pretty cool.
it's like trying to that when we tried to play Phasmophobia that time. You
Yes.
couldn't
Yeah, right.
That's
couldn't
what it felt
register.
like. But I'll tell you what, man, GTA 5 is so amazing in VR. I forgot how amazing that game is. Just the story campaign. Just running
Yeah.
around the town, right? So
Yeah, that's one I need to get back around to myself. Um, anyway, there's tons of things we could play. We could play that. We could play Red Dead. I haven't got back into Cyberpunk since it got updated.
I
And then
still got to do
there's
Uncharted. I still got to finish.
Uncharted, and there's
Far Cry
Far
6.
Cry 6.
Damn, Far Cry
Yeah,
6.
see,
I forgot
here's the
about that.
thing. We're coming into 2022 show season, which means not only do we have to put up the time in to get ready to select the 2022 game of the year on each platform, but we also got to be able to make an informed decision about the 2023 mod of the year. And some of those we've played and others we haven't. So we're going to get busy, guys. We've only got about 7 weeks left to get all this stuff figured out. I was going to talk about 2022 show at the end of the show today, but since Roots, started talking about Vertigo, let's talk a little bit about it. I mean, I've started. So last year we went about 13 hours, over 100 game keys that we were giving away. We did over 50 awards. We leaned really heavily into the mods last year. Did a couple hours on mods alone, um, and we try to top ourselves every year. So we're starting now
Mm.
to prepare. We're starting to play the games. I've started reaching out to developers to see what kind of giveaway we can put together. If any of you out there, any of you viewers out there want to contribute to the key pool, please hit me up on Discord or send me an email. Now listen, uh, I appreciate everyone that wants to contribute, but when we're talking about the year-end show giveaway, we're not trying to give away copies of Dick Wild and Super Hot.
Wait a minute, hold on. Dick
We're
Wild's pretty awesome.
it is good. So it's Super Hot. But it's a 2023 show. We're trying to give away 2023 games.
Right.
So if you have older keys to give away, just hold on to them and give them away yourself in the chat during the
Yes.
episode.
Just drop 'em in
Or
the chat.
yeah, just drop them in the chat. Or if they're flat games, like there's a lot of older flat games that have mods that came out this year. Those would be absolutely welcome. So you can send those my way. But we're trying to build out a better show than we did last year, and last year's show was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think it's getting better every year, and every year is amazing. And old Darth says, whoa, Eric played Uncharted 4 in VR. Thoughts? Okay, well, let's slow the roll. Eric's thought about starting it a few times. I'm assuming you haven't started it, right? I don't think he's like,
No, I mean, I literally had every, like, this was going to be the week. Like, I didn't have a ton of other stuff to do, and we actually ended up having 2 game launches this past week. Things got out of control. I completely, don't tell my wife, I completely whiffed and forgot my anniversary was Friday, the 10th, and then the death in the family, my wife's family. So with all those things happen, there was just no time. I mean, I did play some VR. There was just no time to do, because like you can't just get into Uncharted for like an hour, right? Like I need to put aside some serious time to do it, and I didn't want to
No,
go in and do it for an hour.
he's smart. He
I think
knows if he goes
uh,
in at the wrong time, he'll really fuck himself over because he'll get sucked in for 7 hours, and he doesn't have 7 hours.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair statement to say, Roots, that he doesn't necessarily have to finish the game,
Mm.
but he has to get at least midway through it, right?
Yeah.
Like he needs to get through some of those middle levels are just amazing.
Yeah, and I want to, like, it's a huge, it's one of my favorite series of all time, game series of all time. So
You're
I
gonna
want to
love it
do it.
so
You know what I mean?
much.
So
You're gonna love it so
yeah,
much.
I absolutely I played all of them. I don't know if I played the third. I played all the way through several times, the first and the second one. The third one I don't remember too much, but I may have played into that one too. But this one I have not played at all, and I'm really looking forward to it.
If you can manage to find the time to put together 2 play sessions, you won't stop. After that,
Mm.
you'll be hooked and start letting important shit go so that you can play fucking like
I
it's
don't
like
f-
that.
I don't finish many games, and I really wanted to. That the thing about that game, it really did give me like a national treasure vibe. I really did feel like I was on this adventure, that I was a part of the story. I was invested in it, like it. That's why I love these games. That's why I love these AAA games. I just read Wes yesterday that GTA 6 has been in development for 10 years, which, doesn't surprise me because Baldur's Gate 3 was in for 10 years as well. And they've spent $2 billion in production for that game. And so,
That's
like,
insane.
what do you think? And I was thinking this last night as I was driving around and running
Strong
around.
female lead.
Well,
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
guarantee you it's 2023 and there's going to be a bunch of other shit in there. But as long as the gameplay and the story makes sense, I don't care. But just running around the GTA 5 that was produced how many years ago? just everything that's going on in this city that makes you feel like it's a real city. The planes flying overhead, like just everything about it. It reminds me of why that game was so amazing, and I hope, I'm thinking GTA 6 is in Unreal Engine, right? And so we should be able to play.
I think it's an in-house.
Mm,
It's an in-house engine,
well, hopefully
Rockstar
somebody
engine.
brings that in there because like running around those cities, I love Cyberpunk. It's super cool. I haven't delved into that game as much, but I don't feel like the world's alive like Rockstar made it feel like. I think Rockstar made something special with GTA 5 and their world. And I think Cyberpunk's amazing, but I can't wait to see GTA 6.
Gonna be crazy. It's gonna catch our computers on fire when we try to play it in VR, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Hell yeah.
If it doesn't officially support VR, which it might officially support VR,
That's
you
true.
never know.
You never know.
Anyway, the 2023 show is coming in hot. So again, we'll have a couple more weeks of just like regularly scheduled programming. After around Thanksgiving, um, we'll still have shows, but they won't be on a regular schedule. We'll have a show or two that just focus on the 2023 show. Um, we'll open we'll open up the categories for people to make suggestions. Um, we've got a pretty good selection of categories right now with about 50 awards or so, but we like to open it up each year and let people suggest new award categories in case there's something that this year brought into the fold that we haven't seen in years past. Um, or if there's something really funny, somebody have a funny idea for a category, we still try to do some comedy. Like the early shows, it was all comedy. Like every award was a joke. Not so much anymore, but we still do some jokes. So we'll open up the award categories and let you all make suggestions. After we have the category set, we'll choose nominees. Just us, you know. We'll choose the nominees and put them out there for you. Although we do take suggestions for that as well in the Discord. So if people have games they'd like to nominate, we are all ears for that. But after we publish the categories, we'll set the nominees, and then we typically will have a show and kind of go over that. And then at that point, we'll open up voting for a week or two to let people vote on who they think should win each category. Um, this isn't a viewer's choice award, though. We have to keep that in mind. The way we use the vote is similar to the way that we use the vote during Game of the Month. That is, if we have some kind of a debate, a discussion, something that's close, then the voting kind of is the tiebreaker. The way that the awards get decided at the end of the year is we meet up with our patrons. We go online, typically in big screen, although I don't know if big screen will be big enough this year. We might have to find a new venue, maybe in VR chat or something. Um, but we meet up with our patrons in VR and we go through each category, we go through all the nominees, and we discuss it and choose the winners during our session with the Patreons. So that's our process. That's how we've always done it. And that's how we're going to continue to do it until we come up with something better. Um, but this has always worked for us in the past, and it's always a good time. So
We
if you
almost
want to
had a
be a
full house
part of that,
last year.
yeah, yeah. So if you want to be a part of that, join the Virtual Strangers Patreon. All we ask for is $3 per month, which is literally nothing by today's standards. We didn't adjust for inflation, Roots. We just kept it at $3. What the hell's wrong with us?
Yeah, I don't know. We're just going against the flow. Everything else is going up, so we'll stay the same. This is the thing. You're helping us out, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, this is all coming up soon. So looking forward to it. It's literally the best show of the year every year. Every year we make we distribute, we put on the greatest VR podcast in history. We do that once a year, and we're about to do it once again. Um
20
Anyway,
hours.
guys,
20 hours straight.
20, 30?
34 hours.
it could happen. It could happen.
Last
Never
year,
say never
it
anymore.
was what, 14? Was it 12? 14 hours last year? I don't
It,
remember.
it was over 13 last year. Now, with that said, a lot of it's pre-recorded, and a lot of it will be pre-recorded again this year. That's the only way we can go that long without Viagra.
You know who else can go that long?
My
You know what's
mom!
cool about it is the segments that we do record. You're going to want to watch because it's with amazing
Yeah,
guests. That we
it's
always
the
have.
only good part. It's the only good part of the recorded segments.
Yep.
Anyways, we got a fucking killer show lined up today. Let's blast through some of these intro topics. I put 4, I think, headlines in here, and I'm going to go ahead and be honest about it. I didn't read any of these articles, but the headlines were so interesting that I wanted to kind of look through it together while we're talking. We often like to discuss hardware at the top of the show. Valve hints at its wireless VR headset plans in a Steam Deck OLED interview. So I did kind of scroll through this one a little bit, and basically, there's not a lot of details about Valve Deckard in here, but basically, Eric, what they've done here is confirm the existence of Valve Deckard. It isn't a myth. They pretty much admit freely here that they are working on a new VR headset, and this VR headset is going to feature a lot of the technology that's being used in the Steam Deck, which I mean, that doesn't outright say that it's going to have standalone or wireless capabilities, but it pretty much says that it's going to be standalone or have wireless capabilities.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we've all been paying attention, we've all kind of known that this is coming, but these things come at Valve's time. Like Valve doesn't give a shit about deadlines or timelines or what anybody wants. Like they will never ship anything, whether it's a game or whether it's hardware, until fucking Valve's ready to ship it. They don't care. Like they literally could care less about, fanfare or media or any of that. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to wait till they have everything perfected the way they want to do it, and then they'll ship it. And I just hope that the hardware that they have is still current and, as progressive as we think it is by the time they do ship it.
I'm sure it will be. I just hope their controllers don't suck.
Hmm.
Like as much time and effort and care that they take before they release their product, which I was like starting to go with Eric. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then I thought, wait a minute, the knuckles, man, those controllers sucked. Everybody that I talk to, it's always about how many pairs they've gone through. Like, you know what I mean? I know that we all have drifts on some controllers, but so I'm really hoping. But I mean, that is my hope for the. I don't think it's going to be. I really hope it's not standalone. I just don't. Valve don't even go there. Just do what you do. Stick to PC, and I'm for sure it's wireless, and it has to do. This article is basically talking about how they're planning on connecting to that box, right? Their own personal computer for people that don't have much money, that that's optimized for gaming. And so how cool is it that that's a thing as well? So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping if it has a display port, I probably will pick up this headset. So
How much do you think it's going to cost?
I
$1,500?
I would say between $1,000 and $1,500, and then maybe it's still 1,000. I don't know, because if it
No base
doesn't,
station, so it should be cheaper.
yeah, if you don't need to have base stations, but I don't know, how are they going to track? I guess it would have to have some kind of inside out tracking, right?
To be inside
no,
out, yeah.
they're absolutely going to have SLAM tracking. There's no way that they're doing base station tracking anymore. I think they said as much that they won't do. Like even Brad said, I think they're not going to do base station tracking anymore.
And they sold it.
It'll be.
Didn't they sell the technology? So yeah.
It would make sense. I mean, I think we've moved past the phase. We've gotten good enough with inside out tracking that, I don't think we need the base stations anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we need
Anyway.
a battery for a PC VR headset either. So
Deckard,
Yeah.
Deckard is real. It is confirmed now. Someone was asking in the chat, "Where's Brad?" I thought about inviting Brad on, and I probably would have were it not so late. Um, but yeah, it's good to know that this is a real thing,
Hmm.
and whether it comes in 2024, 2025, we're going to see this headset at some point in time, which
I
is exciting.
I know where Brad will be. He'll be, well, theoretically a crewcast tomorrow talking about this, right? Is there a crewcast tomorrow? Do you
We
know?
never know until early on Monday, but I would say
We'll
it's
see.
likely. Uh, moving on, let's talk a little bit about Quest. Last week we talked about how, or maybe it was the week before, we talked about how Meta finally slowly getting their shit together for streamers by letting us bring YouTube chat into the headset. And we said then, um, when are they going to give us the full palette, right? When are they going to let us really have the tools that we need to make good content from our Quest headset? And then we said, then why don't somebody else do it? Why can't we do this on side quests? I'd pay money for it if somebody could figure it out. Well, it looks like Meta is releasing a feature called Casting 2.0, according to this headline, which lets creators capture uncropped widescreen by PC over USB, um, which is great, Eric. I mean, this is something. I mean, you can you can capture widescreen now on your Quest through a setting that they recently added in, relatively recently. Something you've been able to do for a while through SideQuest. But according to this, or at least the implication is that you can use your link cable to capture on your PC, which this is something that's very new. This basically eliminates the need for wireless solutions like Chromecast or capturing the screen from streaming to the Meta website. Uh, Basically, the implication is here is that we're going to be able to get a much higher quality stream with full bit rate and less latency, I would assume, especially when it comes to audio. Good news, right? This is something we've been waiting on for literally years, and just one more tool in the box for us creators that brings us closer to being at a point where we can create content from standalone games.
I'm super happy about this. It just baffles me still that it's taken this long to get to this spot. Like, I don't understand. Like, how is this like we're still talking about this early on when Quest 1 actually originally had like streaming service. Quest 1 when it came out had a lot of this stuff and they took it all away. And then we had nothing for Quest 2 and even the recording capturing was you couldn't even capture with a, in any kind of anything but, half a screen. It was terrible. Like it's still not easy I mean, there's people now that are like, if I have to do it standalone, I'm not streaming. I don't want to record. I'll do it only in Steam where I can use OBS. And that's where we are still with some of this stuff. So thank God it's finally here because it opens up so many things, even for us, Wes. We talk about it all the time. Like we want to real time review Quest games. We do. We talk
Oh,
about it. We're like, this would be a great game. Let's go real time review Dungeons of Eternity. But then we're like, well, shit, that opens up a whole freaking can of worms because we can't just easily stream, Dungeons of Eternity on Quest because Quest is a pain in the ass. So it literally ties our hands. So how great is this for us? But Wes, Roots, how great is it for the developers where we can't cover their games sometimes, or other
Right.
people don't cover their games because they're only Quest, and then it's too much of a hassle to cover it.
And it's not only us. How many games blow up because content creators stream their games? And so like Meta's kind of shot themselves in the foot for the last couple years. And I guarantee Mash, and we've seen this with many of their services, they bring something out and for Quest 1 and it's janky and it's not the best. And so instead of perfecting it, they just get rid of it for 3 years and then bring it back when it is. And I get it, but at the same time that it's kind of important is you're trying to drive VR and you're trying to drive these games to be adopted. And there's so many games that I've not ever streamed that I would love to have streamed. Like Crashland is one of the games I think is a perfect streaming game. But
Yeah.
I can't read my chat, and so that's my biggest problem. and then like you said, all the other issues. And so it's good. It's I mean, we're here, so I'll stop bitching about the fact that it's taken forever, but it is odd, it's taken so long.
Mm.
So
So this next one, I think I let the headline fool me a little bit. The headline reads: Stream live from MetaQuest 3 to YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok with this free app. Now that sounds amazing, right? Like this is what we want. This eliminates the need for that cable. If we can just stream directly from the headset to YouTube, like that would be a game changer. But as you read on, it says with a free VR app, you can now stream live as an avatar directly from your VR headset to your favorite platform. This is VStreamer Live, which is a complete VTubing studio for MetaQuest 2 and MetaQuest 3, MetaQuest Pro. Roots, haven't you always wanted to be a VTuber?
oh yeah, and then you can hide behind your little virtual character, which is good. I'd rather be out here myself. What I found was kind of interesting. Besides the fact that you can use you got your eye and face tracking for Quest Pro. It's actually kind of cool, I guess, if you were doing something like this. But with the paid subscription, you get actually Twitch and YouTube live chat. So you could use this to get that chat that you want in the interim till they, kind of solidify it at $6 a month. And I'm not saying that I would do it myself, but I mean, it'd be a way to do it. But yeah, it makes it sound like it's free because if you can use the free version, but it's gonna have a big ass watermark in your video. So
You can download 2D pictures or 360-degree videos via a built-in web browser and use it directly as a background. I mean, for people who do this kind of stuff, I mean, this is a pretty handy little application. This just isn't what I thought it was going to be from the headline, and certainly not anything that I would ever use.
Assassin says the article got me too. Damn it. Hey, I mean, it's just what it makes it sound like. It's like, oh hey,
That's what we call effective clickbait. So effective clickbait is when people technically don't lie, but they give you a misleading headline. Um, Now, what I hate is when people absolutely lie in the headline, and we see a lot of that. But if people technically don't lie, it's fair play to them. They got me.
yep.
But the last one here, and I haven't read this one either, but I find it very interesting. This app turns your MetaQuest 3 into a 3D camera. So this is something that we have lauded Apple Vision Pro for being able to do, being able to flip a switch and record 3D video right from the headset itself. And Eric, I've often wondered to myself, why isn't Meta doing this? They have the cameras there now. I mean, it's not going to be the highest quality in the world, but even a standard quality VR video is quite impactful if you're recording your children when they're small, your parents when they're old, when you're capturing moments that are about to get away from you and you'll never have them again. Even having um, a 3D video that has a little bit of grain to it is literally priceless. And basically, um, if this is true and this works as it says it supposed to, this is it's turning your $500 headset into a $300 camera, which is pretty awesome.
Hell yeah, just adding way more value to this already really great value of a headset in my eyes. I think it's pretty awesome. I remember years ago, Wes, you were talking about when you got a 3D camera and you were capturing, like you said, you were capturing. I think it was Christmas with your dad and your kids, and you were like saying how special it was, and that like when you can get those things and you can view them in 3D, it makes it different than just watching on a normal video camera or watching it on a flat screen. It captures it. It makes you feel like you're in the moment when you rewatch it back. And it's if you haven't seen that type of recording before, I think it's something you need to try. And this is going to be amazing. This is going to open things up for a lot of people. I'll use it because I know that I've looked at 3D cameras and it's just not a rabbit hole that I've decided to go down because I probably could and I could probably spend thousands and thousands of dollars in there. And you have to like draw the line somewhere, right? Like and you can't just buy everything. So, this is not a rabbit hole that I have gone down, but this is something I think I'll use with my Quest 3 or the Vision Pro when it comes.
Yeah, I highly recommend that people who don't have a VR camera spend the money. You can
Mm,
get them for $200 or $300. Again, they're not the best quality when you get the low end cameras. They overheat quickly. You very rarely can record for more than 15 or 20 minutes before the thing shuts down from being too hot. But it's still what you can capture with them is absolutely priceless. Um, Now, Roots, this specific app, admittedly, if you read through the article, says that this is a pretty labor-intensive
mm,
process to get this to work. There are quite a few steps, but it does work. What it gives me is hope for the future. Typically, that when we see stuff like this is just the first step in the process that typically ends with Meta putting out their version of it in a free update a year down the line. Um, the hardware's here. I don't see why Meta wouldn't do this, especially given the fact that Apple is doing this.
Oh, I guarantee Meta's working on their version of this, right? And they'd be stupid not to. They're probably trying to get ahead of it so that they can have their version before Apple comes out. So you're gonna because that's what they're gonna be banking on, right? Is like we're gonna give you what Apple is gonna give you, but we're gonna do it with a cheaper version, right? We're not gonna charge you as much, and we're gonna be able to do everything they do. And my question is, will it be as good? Because I mean, Apple's obviously is going to be that next level. But I mean, this is something that you already own. Like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You just have to go through a few steps and you have a free 3D camera that you can check out, right? So it'll be interesting to see what both of you having young kids and stuff and checking this out and seeing what you guys are, if you do, I'm assuming you're going to go through the process and try this. What your experience is like. Uh,
I have a camera. I don't need to try this. Like I've got 3D camera here, so I don't need
this,
it.
this is
But
next level. When
Cool to
it's
try though.
it's not. You know what I haven't tried though is watching my videos. My videos are
yeah,
5.7K videos. I haven't watched them on my Quest 3 yet, so that should be something that I try out pretty soon. Holidays are coming. I'm going to be shooting new videos, so I need to check that out.
you shoot it
Um,
with this camera on the Quest 3. No, just kidding. No, Wes is like, no.
Now I have a button. I have to push a button and then it records.
That's a lot easier than
That
all these steps, I think.
yeah. My grandpa died this past summer. 94 years old. Um, and see him a lot in his last years. He's not local to me, so I see him once or twice a year. But a couple years ago, I went in to visit him. I set up my VR camera and had a conversation, hour long conversation with him, just about the old days, about this and that. Nothing specific. Just me sitting in a room with my dad, my uncle, and my grandpa talking, and they're all in the frame because the camera literally it's 180 degrees. It records everything in front of it from wall to wall. So you go back and it's literally like sitting in the room again. You're back in that moment. The audio is 3D. Um, again, just priceless. And, many of my cousins and my family right now, they don't know about this. And I'd say most of them don't even have VR headsets. But it's going to be nice 5 years down the road when they all have VR headsets and I pull this out of my back pocket. They're going to lose their mind. And it's going to be a beautiful moment.
Not only
Um,
that, Wes, but the technology that's getting out there that I was just checking out recently for AI enhancement of video and pictures.
yeah,
And like
good point.
they're taking old videos from the 20s and it looks like so good. And can you imagine, they're going to be able to sit in the room with your grandpa and it's going to look 10 times better than what you've seen even now.
That's
So,
true. In our children's lifetimes, they're gonna be able to just take a collection of flat digital images and recreate your dead loved ones' likenesses and do full motion video out of it with just AI. And then if you have recordings of their voice videos, like
mm,
my kids, assuming that my YouTube library stays intact somehow, they'll be able to take my YouTube library and recreate me in VR, voice, likeness, all of it, and even my personality at one point. They'll be able to mimic that as well.
Yeah, won't be the
I'll
same.
be telling mom jokes in the year 2250.
Wait till they download your consciousness. We're all gonna live forever.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our those are our intro stories this week. Again, Valve Deckard confirmed lots of new features coming to Quest 3 already in the first month of it coming out. Already some new features coming on the software side. Super cool time to be a VR enthusiast. But with that said, we haven't even gotten into the meat of the show yet. Let's say hello to our friends in the chat. Old Arth is here. Said, "Look what they did with the Beatles' latest song, Now and Then. Amazing." Tom Parks is here. Awesome Tatum is here. Jay Devil says, iPhone 15 Pro Max can now do 3D videos. It absolutely can. That's awesome. Xbox Game Pass only, bitch, is here. Says Crashland is pure trash. I think somebody's trying to troll us
What?
roots.
Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe he's not, but I'll tell you, it's an amazing game.
It is. Mr. Lord Beavis is here, as is Rogue TR. Space Denison's here. Assassin 32 VR is here. Fifth is here. Techno Glitch. What up? Chinatown D. What's up, D? Five Lozix is here. Escape Portal is here. Um, let's see who else is in here. Duggars K. That says we're going to need a bigger venue this year. Probably so. Probably true.
Big screen.
Um,
Oh, wait, it's the same.
Not big enough. Radio Runt's here. Talking about Demeo Battles. You wash your filthy mouth, Radio Runt.
How
We'll
dare
talk
you?
about Demeo Battles in a little bit. Hooked Worm the Hoosier Game Cat. It says, I'm excited for your Uncharted 4 discussion. You should be excited for it. We've been hyping it for 3 months. Should be very
It's
excited
the
for it by
biggest lead
now.
up. It better be good, dude. It better be good. If
I'll-
I get in there and I'm like, wow, it's mediocre, I'm gonna be
This-
like, wow.
If you get in there and you think it's mediocre, I question your soul. And
What if I get in there and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going back to Power Wash.
I think that's probably could
Putting my
happen.
hoodie on.
I go
Yeah,
back to
maybe.
Power Wash Simulator and Crashland. So
You know what I'm still going back to that I can't get out of is, and you guys don't ever play it, is Mother Gunship Forge. I'm back sucked into it again because I got Betty into it, and now she wants. So we've been playing co-op like crazy of Mother Gunship Forge. That game still
Speaking
doesn't
of
get enough
Betty,
love.
Betty's here, as is Salvador. Lose Reviews says, I'm not into games that simulate real life mundane tasks. Yeah, I don't want to work in VR. That's just how I am. Call me weird. Tatum's here. What's up, Tatum? Chatty's here. Says Power Wash has gotten good reviews. Power Wash has gotten great reviews, and that's the intriguing thing about it. I mean, Paradise Decay called it Game of the Year. Figure.
He had to be kidding though when he said that, right?
No, he was being serious. I think.
I just think people
No, he
like
can't
different
be.
things, man. You know what I mean?
But just think of the games that have come out this year. There's no way I'm calling bullshit on this if he said that. Like, there's no way. Like, if he said that, I want him to get in here right now and
It's
say I said that.
it's Game of the Year, dude. Maybe he heard it from
No way.
Upload. I don't know.
No way. Maybe if he was having a brain aneurysm, he'd be
No,
Game
man.
of the Year. That'd be like saying Ghostbusters is Game of the Year.
Wow. I think Power Wash is probably a better game.
Gabriel 004, the license to Meow Game Cat, is with us. What's up, Gabriel? It's free VR real estate in the house as well. Who else? Anybody else in here? Like El Diego VR? Midlife Kid is here. Geison's here.
Nice.
Mark Smith. What up? Regos Pantaleon. What's up, Regos?
I miss Don.
You think Mark Smith is from the Witness
Yeah.
Protection Program?
I think so.
Maybe.
It's just such a.
As I'm bringing
You're
up
like,
Don.
it's in Mark. His name is Mark Smith, or it could be Dave Jones.
Mark Smith. He's probably from Salt Lake City.
Let me ask you this: we dismissed Radio Runt like immediately when he talked about Demeo Battles, but this is the Demeo person that like has put so much more time in Demeo than anybody I know. I know we're gonna talk about okay.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about because he's way off base.
Brooklyn Menace is here. What up, Brooklyn Menace? David Runs is here. Where are you running to, David? I'd like to know. Maybe he just runs. Maybe he's not running anywhere. Maybe David runs in circles. Who else? James? What's up, James? Cubo 92 is here. True Prophecy 22 is here. Jeff Rayner is here. What's up, Jeff Rayner? John Savino is here as well. What's up, John Savino? And that's as far as I can scroll upward. Oh, VR Spry Guy. Happy birthday, Spry Guy. Of course. What about Slippies? We have any Slippies slide in at the end here, Roots?
We did. There was let's see. I know
Major T.
Major T
was a Slippy.
Yeah, and then
Simplex.
Yeah.
Simplex is here. What's
and
up,
David?
Tom Parks?
David Runs was tidying. He said so. He's cleaning up.
Nice.
Yeah, you got to clean up. You're going to run all the time.
That's true.
Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us. Sorry if I missed you. We appreciate you hanging out this late Sunday night. Let's get it on. Galaxy Kart from PlayStation VR2. We checked this game out today because we wanted to. For the first time in 7 months. Eric, we were at GDC when this game launched on PSVR2, and when the review embargo lifted on it, and people were saying very similar things about it. They were saying that it's blurry. They were saying that it's janky, not very fun. There were problems with the way the game was structured. There were only 3 tracks at that time, and the way that the game was structured is you had to only 1 track was unlocked when you started the game. You had to beat it on easy, you had to beat it on normal, you had to beat it on hard before you unlocked the second track. And then you had to lather, rinse, and repeat. Easy, normal, hard to unlock the third track. And people were not happy with this game. And it was at that point that I decided that I'm just going to wait to play this one. I'm glad I did, Eric, because the experience that I had today playing Galaxy Kart was about as far a cry as you could possibly get from the game that launched this past March.
Yeah, and I did the same thing that you did. Like I was there at GDC, and like I saw everything that dropped in this game. I heard the criticisms about it. I thought some of them seemed unfair, but I hadn't gotten into myself, so I didn't say anything. And I did want to wait because if there were problems, I was like, I'm gonna wait till they fix it. And I'm glad I did. And I'm glad I waited till they put wheel support in because this game's freaking awesome, man. I like there's some of the things that were said about this game I don't get. And it must have been super different, the patching and the updating they must have done must be huge because I had an absolute blast in this game. I'm a huge fan of Dash Dash World, and I told Wes and Roots, like, now I need to go back into Dash Dash and try it with a wheel and pedal. But this was a blast. Like, I think I had more fun doing this than I did the last time I played Dash Dash. And I know Dash Dash has more tracks and things like that, but man, the wheel and pedal makes a huge difference here. It's super easy to hook up with the PlayStation. And I had a blast. Like, I can't wait to go back in and start opening and unlocking stuff because it's a lot of fun.
So Radio Run's cutting right to the chase and asking, is this better than Dash Dash? And I would say that that's a difficult comparison. One, because I never played Dash Dash with the wheel. Um, there are things I like better about Dash Dash, but I've only played this for about an hour today, Roots. And I would say at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because we're talking about PlayStation VR2 today, and there is no Dash Dash.
Right.
There is no touring carts. There is no none of that. What there is Galaxy Kart, and luckily, this is a very good game. Like, even if it isn't quite on the level of Dash Dash, which that's not what I'm saying,
Mm.
but even if it's not, that doesn't mean this isn't a good game. I think it's very similar to Dash Dash in a lot of ways.
I agree. And I think the only reason I would say that Dash Dash is a little bit better of a game is just because it's been around a little bit longer and they've got more courses. And, like,
Um,
while 6 courses is a lot, I think you need double that. And so I'm assuming they're not done with this game and they're going to keep adding to it. But
I think there's 9 right now, isn't
is
there?
there? Oh, I thought maybe I thought it was only 6 that I could see on the ones that we
They
saw.
so they started with 3, and it got another update a couple months ago, which added another 2 or 3, and then it got this update, which added 3.
I
So it's
didn't.
got 8 or 9 right now.
I only saw 6 when I was scrolling through for my choices, and maybe I just didn't. Maybe I missed them. But I mean, if
You
there's
probably have to unlock them.
okay,
Probably have to unlock them.
yeah. So so then there needs to be 3 more at least, in my opinion. But I think 9 is way better than 3. I think the fact that you don't have to completely finish a course like easy, medium, hard. By the time you got to it before, like you want to see something new. You can go into every single one in this one. What I would say that this one has that Dash Dash doesn't have, and maybe this makes this game better in the long run once they've got more courses, like the individual drivers and the fact that each one is actually different. Like me being the pirate, I had that hook, right, and I could grab onto
Yeah.
other players and like Mash is like, how are you, Roots? Or how are you going so fast? I could grab onto somebody way the hell up, and it would grab me and it would leap me in the air, and it would pull me towards that person. And if they're hauling ass, I go even faster. And so like each character has their own unique little spin, plus all the different unique things you could do. And I would submit what you said, Eric, is 50% true, as far as the wheel goes, because I did just use the wheel today and it's phenomenal. I would think it changes everything. But yesterday when I played it, I used the virtual wheel, and I thought the virtual wheel is probably one of the best virtual wheels I've ever used in a racing game. It's very responsive. Like a lot of times you're using virtual wheels and you feel like you're not really holding it, or it's very hard to turn. It just felt like a real steering wheel, and I don't know how they do it. It was very good, but I agree. The wheel and the gas pedals and everything with a rig. Again, thanks to Lincoln Clay. I don't thank you enough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome, giving me that. But it changes everything, and I hope they do get force feedback because I think it would make it even better. But yeah, no, this game is, like I said, just behind Dash Dash, and for me, just because it's doesn't have as many courses.
And that was
Yeah,
gonna be
that
my only complaint was that I was gonna bring it up too, was the feedback in the wheel. That 'cause you feel it, like I was missing it. I'm like, I feel something doesn't like, I feel like I'm missing something, and it took me a few minutes to figure it out what it was, and with that wheel, especially the one we have, Wes, I'm used to that feedback, going around
Right.
turns, and you feel when the wheels start to shake from the highway, you would get that feeling in the steering wheel of the wheel that we have, and it's not there. Like, it's there in like GT7, but it's not here, and it's just something you miss. It was just something that felt off, and it took me a few minutes to figure it out, and that's what it was. But there is haptics in the headset with this game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that Dash Dash is a bit more nuanced in its gameplay. Not only does it have a wider variety of tracks, um, I feel like there's, well, I don't want to say necessarily that there's a wider variety of weapons in Dash Dash because I haven't played all of the characters yet. I haven't unlocked all of them. Um, I will say this: I never once had to brake playing this game. I kept my foot on the gas the whole time. Where Dash Dash is a bit more realistic, where you have to brake around corners and stuff, and you really have to mind your p's and q's when you drive. Um,
I was hoping when the
uh,
difficulty goes up, that'll change, but I don't know yet.
yeah, we'll see. I will say this though: it is kind of nice that it is so easy to pick up. There's no tutorial, which I thought was a little bit weird. Like they just kind of throw you in there and let you figure it out for yourself. But it's easy enough. The controls are simplistic enough that when we finish playing together, I put my headset on my 10-year-old, and he just picked it up and played it for. He played it longer than we did. Like he just single player, playing it and loved it. Um, so it is a good game. It's a fun game. Again, for those of you out there who like kart racers, it's a solid one. I would, it's debatable on whether or not it's better than Dash Dash. I'd say that it's pretty easily uh, better than touring carts.
Oh
Am I
yeah,
wrong?
Right. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. And what you said is the fact is this is the best type of this type of racer for the PlayStation VR2, because Dash Dash isn't there, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about this game for the PlayStation VR2, and I think the platform has needed something like this. Like, people have been looking for Dash Dash for a long time, and that's not coming as far as we know. Like, they said they were going to do it at one time, but as far as I know, that team has kind of abandoned all hope of bringing Dash Dash to the PlayStation VR2. This is the game that you have. If that's your headset, this is what you have, and I think this is really good, and it's something that you should get. You should get.
Yeah. I mean, one day we'll probably have an Astrobot Racing.
Hmm.
We'll definitely have a new Wipeout game, but we're not there yet. We're still in the early days of PSVR 2, and I think it's nice that VR Monkey has brought to everyone a solid, fairly well polished kart racer to PSVR 2. And again, it's interesting to say that polish is one of the game's strong suits, considering the state that it was in when they launched. They should have waited. They should have just waited till now to launch it.
Yeah.
And of course, that's easy for me to say because I'm not the one trying to make a living on it. But could you imagine how much different things would be going for them if they were to launch this now in the state that it's in now? Um, and they didn't have that stigma that they have to work through that they pretty much put on themselves by launching the game too early. This game could be a hit if it hadn't already blown its load back in March.
It sounds in Steam, right? Too, you said, but we're not sure if it's cross-play.
I think it's on another platform, and it has been for some time. I want to say Steam, but let me find out
I could have
right
sworn I
quick.
played this like way longer
Yeah.
than ago
I,
before.
I, I think it is too. We'll say too, the visuals are really cool, and the tracks are quite different. Like Roots, we played a couple. I mean, I don't know how many we played, like 4 or 5, but
Yeah.
and we don't know the exact number. Like, yeah, I think you're saying 6, or West saying 9, so it's going to be somewhere
S-
between there. But I
Somebody
thought the
said
tracks were super cool.
there's 3 extra worlds or whatever they want to call that they just added. There is 9, but you have to unlock them. But yeah, they're super cool. And you were saying
And
that one was really cool, the one with the sheep, right?
oh, that's so cool. Asgard something is the name of the track. And at one point you come around a turn and there's like 100 sheep in the middle of the track, and you just start mowing through them. Or you can like hit a ramp and get air. And that was one of the things I was going to say too, because I don't think you can do that in Dash Dash. And that is, you get some serious air in this. There's ramps and there's different places that you get huge amounts of air, and I don't know if you get that in Dash Dash in any way.
Seems to be a
Unless
lot of
they,
shortcuts too, right?
yeah,
You know?
yep, for sure.
All right,
Yes.
so here's the thing. This game is on Steam in early access. But it launched a month ago on Steam.
Oh wow.
I
So
wonder if they're going to be
it's in
crossplay.
Steam early access. There is a free demo on Steam for this game right now
Oh wow.
that you can download and play, and it costs only $14 on Steam. So it does have all 9 tracks according to this update note that it got today. So there's 9 tracks, Roots. And someone else said you have to find the arrows when you're scrolling through the track selection. There's arrows that you can scroll sideways
Hmm.
to get to the other tracks.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, this game is available on Steam. I don't know if it's cross-platform. Maybe Eric, maybe you can find out for us. I know you have direct contact with VR Monkey. So
I will. A message right now, actually.
anyway, available on Steam, cheaper. I think I paid $20 for this on PlayStation, and it's only 14 on Steam. So.
Yeah, if you like Mario Kart, I agree with Miles. Shout out to Miles for his video where we got playing,
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
This is
Yep.
VR's answer to Mario Kart, right? Isn't that what he said in his title? So
Yep. Yeah. And the video is linked in the description below. I highly encourage anybody that's interested in this game after the episode's with today to click on that link and go check out Miles' video. As you can see, it's pretty awesome. Awesome game, awesome content. I don't know anybody that's a more prolific streamer than Miles Dyer is. Like this guy Fridays and Saturdays, mostly Saturdays. He typically streams 4 or 5 games, 4 or 5 VR games an hour at a time. It's like a
Wow.
marathon every week. Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah. All PSVR.
It's awesome.
Anyways, Roots, I'm glad we waited to play this game. I think that's the moral of the story. I'm glad we waited. This is a solid game and definitely one that we're going to need to get back into before the 2023 show. I feel like this is certainly a game that can be up for some awards. Maybe not game of the year, but definitely up for some indie game awards, I would say.
Yeah, and if you guys are interested, I was telling Wes and Mash when we were playing, I think this would be a cool community game to play. So if anybody
I
wants
agree.
to do that, let us
Absolutely.
know in the comments that you would be interested, and maybe we can get something together and stream it or something. So
How many can race? Six at a time?
I think it's 8.
8. I think we
Eight?
counted 8 platforms in the multiplayer, and I think if you fill them all, that would be 8. So
You know who loves
when you fill
playing
them
with 8?
My,
all, when you fill it
Yeah,
all.
she does. Although if you're looking at Lyle's video there, it's 1 out of 5. I don't know if he just didn't have a full lobby
Yeah,
or not.
yeah.
Um,
Anyway, recommend at $20 for me, guys. You think it's worth $20 price of admission?
Oh yeah, all day. Even with the 9 maps. Hopefully they're
And
continuing to
let
put
me
out more maps.
and let me verify that too, because I just seem to remember it being $20. I'm not
I think it's
100%
got
sure.
enough game. It's definitely polished. The gameplay's fun. It's a game you can play with your friends. It's not half baked. I mean, it's a good game.
Yeah, $20 on PS5. So there you
Definitely. I think it's worth it. $20 is a good deal for this game. It's a blast, a lot of fun. No brainer, especially if you have a wheel. But it sounds like the virtual wheel's just as good. So
Yeah,
I didn't check the virtual wheel out, but Roots is liking it. So I mean, but with a wheel and pedal, if you have a wheel and pedal and you got a PlayStation, this is a no-brainer.
it's amazing. You know what's cool about the virtual wheel? Because you're only using one hand, and then you
Yeah.
got your other hand out, right? But what's weird is have you guys used the throttle or how would you use? I was looking at that. And I'm like, how do you drive with a throttle? Like that's
go. Well, again, you don't ever have to brake is the thing. I'm always full throttle. So it's more about having a wheel than having the pedal. The pedal I just put to the floor and I never pull it up. So I could see where the throttle would
There
work. You just go full throttle and you never touch it.
the campaign looks like it has I think I counted 4 difficulties.
Right.
So I am absolutely hopeful as you get to the harder difficulties that you have to control your speed. Would make sense. Like, how do you make them harder, right? Like that's one of the ways to do it would be to make you have to break. Like I could see
Um,
because the
I
easy is
was
almost like the
thinking,
tutorial. You know what I mean? That's
I,
because like you said, there's no tutorial. I think the easy tracks are basically the tutorial.
I think that the difficulty level just is basically you controlling the skill level of the AI. That's what I think. I think that the AI gets better when you turn the difficulty up.
Yeah, but getting better, they might take the corners better, and because you can not slow down. Because I do that all the time, even in grip. But I also fly off edges that I shouldn't, or I smash into things I shouldn't. But if I controlled my brakes, I would not do that as much, right? Like, because you can fly through it and not slow down, but there's times when you take a jump or you hit something and then you just go crazy, uh, slam into stuff, right? So.
What's up, Ryan B? What's up, Dead Ringer, the Game Cat? Good to see you. Mind Jive, what's up? Got friends joining us now at this late hour. Appreciate you stopping by. Thank you. Uh, so this is not all that we played, or I guess it might have been all that they played. It wasn't all that I played, because Friday, as I mentioned before, I did get in and put a couple hours into a game, in an attempt to put out a Friday episode. And I'm glad I did because I really enjoyed my time in this brand new mod. Sclerosis, an Amnesia VR remake, is now available for free, for owners of Amnesia: The Dark Descent. So, Amnesia: Dark Descent is one of the early, if not um, the first release in the very popular Amnesia uh, horror game anthology. These are flat games, although I do think that there was one that maybe before had a mod or maybe even had like official VR support. One of these Amnesia games. But what this is a game that did not initially have VR support, being rebuilt from the ground up by a single person. A job which took them over 10 years to complete. But this is a full rebuild of the game with new textures, a full gamut of VR specific options for you to set to customize the gameplay to your liking. And Roots, this game features full 6 degrees of freedom motion controls. Um, what's old is new again, and this is basically a brand new VR game for free.
I'm just blown away by how that the lettering on that this menu looks amazing. Just from at least I'm assuming in the headset it looks amazing, but
Yeah.
super cool, And was saying the other day, 10 years is really not that long when it comes to graphics and games. Not too much has changed in a lot of ways, but lighting and shading and making things look more realistic, which they can do, and changing things. So I just think it's cool, taking something that's old and making it new. And Radio Runt says he will never play this game. I said, you never know. You might Like, think of a situation like a Saw situation, the movie Saw, and your life depends
Mm,
on you playing through this game ready to run and not dying, and somebody's over your shoulder saying, "Don't die," like you
don't
always
die.
do. Yeah, that'd be cool.
So typically with these older VR, older flat games, when they get modded into VR, um, the one kind of telltale sign that gives them away is the scaling. Typically, the world and the objects in it will look bigger in the headset than they would if it were a modern VR game. One of the cool things about this mod is one of the VR settings is world scaling.
Ooh,
So you can literally go in there and drag the slider uh, either way to scale it to your personal taste.
did you
Pretty cool.
change it or did you leave it as is?
A little bit. I backed it off a little bit, made it a little bit smaller
Hmm.
because things are kind of big in the world.
You know who'd make it bigger?
My
Apple
Everything,
too.
mom!
just bigger.
Like how big?
Oh, I'm talking monstrous, man.
So, what kind of game is this? Well, this is a survival horror game. It's a typical survival horror game. The cool thing about it is the time period it's set in. So this is set in the ruins of a European castle in the early 1800s. So it's a couple hundred years ago. This world that you're in, and what makes it kind of hold up, I think, and this is kind of something I was talking to you guys about before the show, is the type of game that it is. Um, if this were an action game with a lot of combat in it, typically when you play combat games from 10 years ago, whether they be melee combat or shooters, the gameplay has evolved quite a bit over the last decade in those types of games. But that's not what type of game this is. This game is heavily story driven, um, and the gameplay itself is um, kind of a stealth exploration with some small amount of puzzles in it. So it's that type of like layers of fear type game where you're looking
Mm.
around, you're getting bits of the story that are fully voice acted, and you're trying to not be seen by the monsters that and if you do see them, run run and hide. There is no fighting. It's either you run and hide or you die. um so Eric, the thing that kind of makes this, or one of the things that make it so great, is the story. It's the voice acting. It's the atmosphere. It's an old school survival horror game.
Yeah, and it looks super cool, man. I love the vibe. I mean, just watching the video. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting in here and checking it out. And I did not get a chance to check this out. Wes did only. But yeah, I mean, I like these types of games. Like I'm okay with not having with not having a weapon. I think that heightens the fear that you can have because you can't protect yourself. Like for me, and a lot of times when I get into these survival horror games, I find comfort in the fact that I have a weapon or I have, a melee. What I mean? I can like have a big machete or if I have a big axe or something like that, or have a gun. When you have nothing, it heightens the fear, the sense of I have to get away from this because I have no chance to defend myself in any way, and then you have to hide. I mean, those types of scenarios can really be terrifying. Think of like a game like Dreadhalls. Dreadhalls is a pretty straightforward game, but you add in the fact that you can't protect yourself in any way. It makes it terrifying at times. And I mean, I like this type of thing, and I do like exploration. And this kind of looks like it's going to be a lot of exploration too, and trying to find different things. So looks pretty
Yeah,
cool.
there is quite a bit of exploration, and even though you don't have weapons, there are lots of items that you need to use to progress in the game. There are health pickups. There are various, like I said, items like you'll come to a dead end. You won't be able to get through a door until you are able to find a certain item or craft a certain item. There are items that you find that are used in puzzles. But the main thing that you're going to be finding are tinder boxes and oil. And what these are essentially are sources of light. Tinder boxes allow you to light candles and torches and things that you find around the map. and the oil that you find allows you to light the lantern that's in your inventory.
Mm.
It's important that you stay lit. The reason why it's so important is because the main kind of the main thing the gameplay is kind of built around and the experience is built around is sanity. You have a meter for sanity. You don't just
Mm.
have a health meter, you have a sanity meter. And when your sanity meter starts to decline and get to the lower half, um, you have more encounters with enemies, you're more prone to take damage, and you start. This is the coolest thing about the game to me is you start to hallucinate. Not only visual hallucinations, you have audio hallucinations. So you start to hear things that aren't there. Your vision starts to get very distorted and wavy, almost to the point where people who don't have their VR legs might find it uncomfortable. It's
Mm.
very intense, the effect that they use when you start to lose your sanity. And some of the sound effects are blood curdling. Like it's really frightening stuff. And that's what kind of makes this game special to me and kind of sets it apart from a normal survival horror game is this sanity meter. It is the effects that that you experience when you start to lose your sanity. And that's what the light is all about. That's why you have to keep the candles lit, keep the lantern on, because if you don't, you'll start to lose your grip on your sanity. And when that starts to happen, you'll find it very difficult to do even the most basic things in the game.
I hear get good. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
run out of fucking light, right? I think that's cool because usually when you're in a game like this, you've got your batteries or you've got your oil and you're I mean obviously it's dark. You have to see. And so that's one aspect of it, but they're adding another layer on top of it. Um I guarantee as that light is getting low, you're starting to already get paranoid in general. Just because you know what's coming and then now you're hearing stuff, seeing stuff. How crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And here's the cool thing about it, Eric, is I mentioned staying in the light to try to keep your sanity. Um, and that this game is an exploration puzzler. There's a big map that you have to really search through, a lot of dark areas you have to find your way through, and then occasionally you'll come across a puzzle that you have to solve, and typically that involves finding items. Again, more exploration, but the game doesn't let you just sit and take your time and explore. Not only
Fuckers.
will your oil and your sources of light run out, um, but if it just in general is taking you long to progress, you'll start to lose your sanity. Like you have, it's each section is timed, and if there's no timer that it shows you, but if it's taking you longer than the game feels like it should be taking you, you start to lose your grip. Things start to vibrate, as you can see there. Your vision starts to get wavy, and you start to get this like drunk effect going on. And then it gets very intense. You start having again screams and whispers in your ears. Um, it's really, really a unique experience to anything else that I've played in VR.
It looks super cool. I mean, I love the fact that that is like that, where you can't just kind of like walk around, be slow and methodical. Kind of moves you along and makes you do that. I think that's super cool. How is the story told, Wes? Is it like is it a lot of
Like this,
reading or is it a lot of
wi-
reading? Okay.
well, it's not reading. I mean, you can read it,
Hmm.
but all of this stuff is voice acted with good
Oh,
voice.
okay, that's good. All right, that's good.
So it's all narrated. You find these letters, diary entries, and things like this laying around the castle, and every time you pick one up, a voice actor narrates it for you. It's very much like Layers of Fear. If you played Layers of Fear in VR, it's that same type of you'll find an item, you'll find a letter, and then some voice acted story will reveal itself, and there's quite a few of them. In fact, there's a lot to the story.
I like that. At least you give me something. I mean, I just don't want to have to read everything and relay the whole entire story to me that way. It's okay to have certain things, but if you relay the entire story to me where I have to read everything, I think it loses something. Like I think having voice acted some narration or voice acted, reading from other characters can absolutely add to the storytelling. So I'm glad it's that way.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's a game a lot of people I think already have in their library, and if you don't, it goes on sale pretty cheap. With it being a 10-year-old game, you should be able to pick this up for only a few dollars. And if you're into survival horror, I can't recommend enough that you check out this mod. There is a bit of jank to it. Most of it was worked out in a patch yesterday. Um, but so there's a seated mode. It is a VR game. Again, a full VR rebuild. There's a seated mode that works pretty well with the height selection. But for me, when I use the seated mode, the crouch function doesn't always
Mm.
work. So it works sometimes and sometimes it don't. There's an option for you to let you press the right thumbstick in to crouch, and it works sometimes and sometimes it don't. And you have to there is no force grab in the game. You have to literally pick things up, and with that being the case, I had to, for the most part, play in standing mode even though I was playing seated. And the crouch works very good in standing mode, because what it does is when you lean forward and start to crouch, your in-game character will actually auto crouch. So it's like you're pressing a button, even though you're not. The game detects when you want to crouch and it crouches for you, and it works really well. But when you go into seated mode, that doesn't work anymore, um, which is kind of annoying. Uh, but other than that, all of the in-game jank that I experienced got patched out yesterday. Now I have noticed that I have had to reapply this mod every time that I've played it, for whatever reason, and I don't know if it's interfering with my antivirus or if Steam is updating and patching it out. But whenever I wait even a half an hour and try to play this game and load it again, I get an error message that tells me there's a file missing. But all I have to do is go. The mod is as easy as copying 7 files and pasting them into the game directory, and that's all you have to do. So literally, I just open up the game folder, copy and paste these files in, and then click on the icon to start the game. And it runs outside of Steam. So Steam doesn't even log your time in the game. It doesn't even know that you're playing the game. It just uses the original game files to kind of build this game on
Mm.
top of it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We need that for more games. Why does Steam need to know that we're playing in VR? Especially games that, well, I guess if it's multiplayer, they're gonna know. But yeah, no, this sounds super cool. For sure.
There you go. Yeah, Amnesia: The Dark Descent is the name of the game. The mod, the rebuild of it is called Sclerosis. And I should have linked this. Actually, bear with me just a moment, and I'm going to update the description so that people can get this get this mod if they want it. It's free, um, and it's really good. So make sure we're helping people out here to find it and support the modder. Oh, where the hell did it go? I know I sent you the, there it is. Copy link, edit. Down, load.
Biloska says he got it on Steam. He had it on Steam and free on Epic. Was this an Epic game that they gave away at
I'm
one point? Must
sure,
have been.
man. There's so many games. I probably do have it on Epic.
I think it's 19.99 on Steam now. Because
Really?
one of the reasons I didn't get into it is because I'm having issues with the Virtual Strangers
Oh,
library, and I
yeah.
didn't want to. If it was cheap enough, I was just going to go buy it. So I went to the store and it was $20. I'm like, I'll wait. You
I
know
think
what
I
I mean, for
paid
the
four
$20.
dollars for it. I think I paid $4 for it.
Yeah. Did you get it on sale or was it
Yeah, I think it was on
on Steam?
sale when I
Oh, okay.
it
Yeah,
So
was
it's
on like a Halloween
19.99 right now.
sale.
I should have looked and seen if it was in any of the CD, the key distribution sites like CD Keys or any of those, but I didn't look.
man.
So the mod itself is is linked in the description of the video now. So just refresh and you'll find it there.
Cool.
Just a moment. Yeah, you can go on to Instant Gaming and pick this game up for $6.50 right now.
And you can also probably buy grip as well for $2. No, we were talking about grip earlier. But yeah, no, this is I would say, I mean,
There's the link.
yeah, from what
There's the link in the chat if anybody wants to buy this game for $6.
yeah, and from what Wes is saying, if you like horror games, it's definitely worth playing through. So
Yep, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I wish I had more time before the show to play more of it. I just had made it through a fairly difficult spot and wanted to keep going, but I ran out of time, so had to put the game down. For what it's worth, the game runs natively, or the mod runs natively on HP Reverb G2, which is the way I played it. It doesn't even run in Steam VR. It just runs native in WMR, and it works well.
nice.
Yep, that is really nice. When are you going to get a G2, Roots? You say you want your DisplayPort headset.
I
Let me tell you something, man. I played Genotype, which we're going to talk about shortly today on my Quest 3, and was fairly impressed. And then from that, I went into my G2 to play Demeo Battles, and it just dropped my jaw. How crystal clear and bright and colorful the display was, how good the audio is. It's really an exceptional headset for sub $500. You can't beat it.
yeah, my only problem is if it had pancake lenses, even though Quest 3 is that much better, I don't know. I mean, with the Quest Pro and I get the somewhat of the QLED, some of the OLED colors, right? But I'm hoping for Valve. But I've thought about the HP a couple times actually, because I want
Yeah,
to
man, they
display
go
port.
on sale. They go on sale for cheap, man. And you might not use it for every game, but it's still, I mean, as of today, it's still my go-to. Like it's the one I go. There's no battery. You know what I mean? There's no battery. It's comfortable, and it
It
looks great.
works. It works every time you start it. You hook it up. The
Don't
display
work
works.
every time, but I would say that it's been much more reliable than my Quest 2 was in the last year of using it as a PCVR headset.
It's great for Sims. It looks great, and I hate the controllers, is what Radio Run says.
I
Um,
got one coming soon. I'm gonna get one. I
yeah,
got one
what,
coming.
$200, right?
Yeah, yeah. Somebody from the community reached out. They want to sell theirs, and they offered it. They offered it to me, and they're like, I could probably sell it for more, but I know that you've been wanting to test one, so they were like, they're really nice, and they were like, I'll give it to you for, for a great deal and like almost brand new. So I'll have it here hopefully within a few days. I can't wait to
Nice.
check it out. I've had it on. I've tried it before, but I mean, it's different when you have it home and you can give it your own. Like I've always tried it at shows or like. I tried
Yeah,
Stevo's G2 at like a couple of different events and
you got to give it a little bit of time. Because it's not an Oculus headset. It has its own kind of button structure and its own system that you have to use a little bit to get used to it and get comfortable with it. Just like anything else, same like a Pimax or anything. You've got, but it's not like Pimax where you're having to download a whole new tool to use.
mm,
Um, there's it does boot you into the WMR home, but you won't use that for anything after you do your room setup. Basically, you'll go into the WMR home, you'll pop your desktop window up, and you'll click on Steam VR, and then that'll kick you into Steam VR, and it's just like you're using Steam VR from that point on. And Steam VR 2.0 actually has some new like options and things for running WMR in Steam VR, which is
Oh,
pretty cool. There's
cool.
I'm looking
new
for I'm looking forward to it,
shit.
especially like taking a look at it with probably the Pro or even the Quest 3 to kind of like it. I mean, you have a Quest 3, but I mean, I don't know. I guess I could look at it with the Quest Pro because the Quest Pro, while it doesn't have the same lenses as the Quest 3, it does have local dimming, which the Quest 3 doesn't have. So I'd be curious to see exactly, the difference between the two.
You know what I've
Well,
noticed as
the
well?
difference with
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the difference between the Quest Pro and the HP Reverb G2, the most significant difference is the resolution. There's a lot more resolution of the screens of the G2. But go ahead,
Yeah.
Reese. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say that. Well, I would add to that but with the local dimming and the pancake lenses, it might look more clear even than more resolution. But I guess it would
The
depend
uh
on.
the sweet spot certainly is going to be much bigger on your Quest Pro because with pancake lenses, the sweet spot is the whole thing.
Hmm.
But it's not like PSVR2 where you have to kind of stay in the sweet spot and any little sneeze will move it off center. I have no I don't ever have to adjust my G2 after I put it on. I stay in the sweet spot and it's pretty dang clear, man.
Cool.
Anyways, let's get back to it. So that's going to conclude our gameplay impressions for the week. Um, again, two good games. I'm glad, Roots, that we just decided to stay to hell with playing games that we didn't really want to play. We were thinking about playing that they might be okay, but then I heard from some people that they were just okay and not great. So let's just pick some shit that we want to play and play it. And it worked out, right? Galaxy Kart was good. Sclerosis was good. It was a good week.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. We never know. And sometimes it doesn't work out. We get in there and we're like, this isn't good. So
But I did do a couple of smaller bouts in games that we'd already played and already covered. And speaking of games that we've already covered, let's get in and talk about such games as we move on to the week's headlines.
All the people who worked here, did they all?
All of them.
But not you.
I dealt with other challenges. You see those gloves? They're a prototype of the grade, an organic 3D printer, and your best bet to stay alive while you're here. We found a fossil in the ice. From its DNA, we recreated hundreds of species of flora and fauna, but the ecosystem took over. Those who didn't die from the creatures died from the airborne poison.
Poison? Will it affect me?
It's already in your bloodstream. The spores will reach your brain within a day and you'll die. But I've got a trick up my sleeve. I've worked on something that'll make this whole ecosystem vanish. Presto. You need to track down 9 DNA samples from the foreign ecosystem. That way my virus knows what to attack when you inject it into the ecosystem's core.
9 DNA samples. All right. But one thing, I don't want you to leave me alone down here, okay?
Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on you all the time.
Genotype picks up Steam. See what I did there? Genotype picks up Steam. New updates, a new price, and a move to a new platform. This from yours truly at xrupdate.com. Without a doubt, Bulwark Games Genotype has been one of 2023's biggest and most pleasant surprises for me. This recently released MetaQuest exclusive offers a unique blend of first person shooter style action and adventure, supported by an interesting sci fi narrative that's set in a secret Antarctic research base. Players use experimental tech gloves to print living organisms, using them as weapons and survival tools. Whether it's the game's impressive audio and visuals, original sci fi narrative, or the familiar but fun gameplay and progression, Genotype displays a level of quality and polish that standalone VR has been lacking for some time. With that said, it appears that this excellent sci fi action adventure won't be a MetaQuest exclusive for long. In their third surprise announcement over the span of the last week, Bulwark Games has just revealed that Genotype will soon debut on Steam VR sometime in the first half of 2024. The game's Steam page goes live today, so be sure to add it to your wish list if you're into atmospheric sci fi action. Genotype's Steam reveal comes alongside a handful of significant updates to the game on the MetaQuest platform. The first update introduced enhanced volumetric lighting, reworked environments, all new difficulty settings, gameplay balancing, and more. This sizable update was quickly followed by another that brought about a pretty substantial resolution bump for MetaQuest 3 users. In fact, Genotype now runs at native resolution on MetaQuest 3, a full 27% visual improvement for a game that was already quite pleasing to the eyes. So all this sounds pretty great, right? But there's still one problem. Even after all of these significant improvements, $35 is still a lot of money for an indie standalone VR title. If Genotype's somewhat steep launch price has caused a few patient VR gamers to sit back and wait for a sale, well, then they didn't have to wait for very long. Genotype is currently on sale at a price of $22 from now until November 27th. Better yet, Bulwark Games has announced that following the sale, the game will see a permanent price drop to $25, which is a $10 reduction from the original launch price of $35. This move makes the game a must own for most current and potential MetaQuest users as we move into this year's holiday shopping season. Of course, for more on Genotype, check out our October Game of the Month debate and be sure to stay tuned to XR Update. Eric, what was already a solid game, a game that won our Game of the Month, surprisingly, admittedly surprisingly, through the support and votes of the chat. But already a good looking game, already a game that plays well with not much jank. Three surprise announcements this week, two of which were substantial updates for the game, not content, but quality of life. Just adding polish to an already very polished game. Uncommon level of support from this now veteran VR studio.
Yeah, and this is this a small studio indie developer, and it doesn't feel like that. Like I went back in again today for a few hours, on Quest 3, of course, and it is beautiful. It's such an extremely polished game from I think is this a first time VR developer as
No,
well?
no, 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 no,
What did
no.
that what was
This
the other game they did?
Dick Wild,
Dick
1 and
Wild,
2.
that's right.
Ah, that's funny that we
That's
brought up
right.
Dick Wild. That's such a
We
good
talked
game. I
about that
love the
earlier.
sequel.
You know
Sorry.
what? You can feel it then. I was going to say this is amazing work for a first-time developer. Then and that makes sense if they've done a game like Dick Wild, which was a really good game way back when, because it feels like this is a extremely polished game where you have studios that are bigger that are have been around longer doing more games that don't launch their games as well. And this is on a hard platform to to build games for. This isn't Steam. It's not like they built the Steam version then they built the Quest version. They built this on Quest first, which isn't easy. And it's beautiful. It's one of the best looking games you'll find, and it plays great. It's got great atmosphere. The voice acting is really good. You know what I mean? A lot of times these smaller studios, they try and use in-house people to make in-house a development team or marketing team to do the voice acting, and you can just tell it sounds like extremely baked in, like, cheesy B acting. I'm thinking of you, Propagation Paradise Hotel. And then, you get a game like this where the acting is really good. You can just tell that they put some, they put some investment behind it. I cannot wait to get through and finish this game because the story now is getting extremely interesting. I want to know who this voice is I'm talking to. There's something up with this dude, Wes. I
I
just
have a
feel it's
theory.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
I agree. There's something going on. And I have a theory about it. Although,
I have a
um,
theory too, but I don't want to say anything. But I do.
right.
I have a theory too. Yeah, it's weird. Something is going on with this guy who's like helping you through this whole thing. He kind of talks you through this whole thing, and I'm just
He wants
starting
to
to
get in
pick
your
up little
pants.
hints.
I think he wants
Yeah,
to
I
get in
think
your pants.
that's true too. Yeah, for sure. Who doesn't want to get in my pants, by the way?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true. That's very. You know who does?
My mom!
Yeah,
She's
you know who
she's
else
in him
likes
right
Dick
now.
Wild
My mom!
or Wild Dick?
My mom!
Okay, so now
They
that's
also
enough.
they also
Calm
did
down.
they also did Kitty Apocalypse Roots.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's I mean that's 3 out of 3 good games. Actually, this is 4 now.
Hitty
Um,
Pocket. Ooh,
those to me the guns are the biggest thing. Not only are they amazing and each one of them different, and just the way that they morph and the way that like a ripcord, like who would have thought that that would work so well for and it's just such a cool mechanic. I think this
it
game
really
is
is.
amazing. Um, one thing that I would say that there was people in the chat that was asking who was it about the Steam version, Philosix, would it be this be better on Steam? I would imagine it's going to look even more better, even though it looks amazing. I'm going to play it on Steam. I mean, just for a couple of reasons. Obviously, I want it to look as good as I can. I'm going to lean towards PC for everything, but there was some scenes, and I don't know if maybe it was just the Quest 3 version because it's doing so much. But I would run into a room and then I would see they would lag for a little bit. And I didn't experience that when I was on my Quest Pro. And what I was thinking too, and people forget about this, this is a real thing in a lot of aspects. There's more RAM in my Pro. And so
Yep,
maybe
that's true.
there's like there's and that's why I'm going to lean towards the Steam version because I want the best version. This game is amazing. I think anybody that sleeps on it is you're missing out, and the fact that the price is dropping to $25. I agree with what you said in this article, Wes. It's now a no-brainer. $35 was like, yeah, it was worth it, but it was like you hesitated. Now there's no hesitation. So
Yeah, it's an excellent game, and I would say that the updates have been marginal. It was already a beautiful game, Eric. You can certainly tell that it was updated. It does look better, but it's not like night and day. It's just it looks very similar to the way it did before. It's just a little bit more crisp now. I think the most noticeable thing are the reflections, like the lighting and reflections. Like if you walk into a room that has like a shiny floor, a lot of glass in it, you'll see a good, nice reflection now, and like a lot of the ambient lighting from like some of the pipes and tubes that have uh, uh like green glowing liquids and stuff coming through them, like that stuff pops a lot more now. um but it's all again marginal stuff. Something I didn't check out so much is some of the balancing that they've done, that they claim to have kind of changed up the pricing on some of the objects that you can craft. And see, what else did they say that they did for balancing? They did something else. Oh, they
More ammo.
well, yeah, there's more. Well, they said that they changed the amount of pickups and things that are
Mhm.
scattered amongst the map, but you have to start a new game for that, which I did not do because
Oh, I
I'm
didn't
over
realize that.
halfway.
I,
Yeah, yeah, I'm over halfway through it
maybe
now.
I just it was a placebo effect 'cause I just felt like I was
Yeah.
finding more shit. Um, But yeah, I mean, is the pricing the same too? You have to start a new game to get the new pricing and everything?
No, I know. I think that's for everyone. But they said specifically with the placement of the items and pickups is that's the one thing you have to start a new game to get. There are new difficulty levels, which I think I need to turn up because during my 30-minute play session today, I did have a boss fight and it was just so fucking easy. I played on normal difficulty
Mm.
and literally just stood back and just fucking fired bullets into this thing and it barely did anything. I
But
think
you
it
can
hit me
change it
3
on the
times.
fly, right?
Yeah, you can.
Mhm.
That's cool. That's actually a really good feature, in my opinion. That way you can, like, if something's really difficult, you can just switch it and then switch back.
Yeah, I
So,
think I need to now because I've got my loadout built, and I don't know if you noticed this, Roots, when you were playing on my save earlier today. I've got my loadout built out now so that when I damage enemies, my health replenishes.
I
So
did not.
literally
That's fucking
every time I
badass.
yeah every time I shoot, I get a point, an HP point.
Wow.
Um,
I don't know how I feel about this now. Like, as I was literally thinking, because what I happened is I forgot that the dev gave me a key specifically. I have it on my account anyway, right? I
oh
believe.
yeah, yeah,
And so, like,
that's
I don't
right.
know why I'm on that account. And I
Mhm.
was like, I went into one and I was like, I don't, like, I had all these guns. I was telling D, I was like, oh my God, I have all these guns. I've never, so I just ran around, checked things out, used the guns. I didn't mess with anything because I knew it wasn't my save. But yeah, it was super cool. And that game just has so much to it. Just the map and how big it is and the exploration. And it's such a cool game.
So, Eric, I've pimped out the first gun so that I've got burst fire on it now. So it shoots 3 shots at a time. It does more damage.
Got it.
The projectiles fire faster, and every one of those projectiles that hits, I get an HP point into my health.
This man
Nice.
legitimately thinks that he is better than us.
And he is. That sounds
I
really
did.
badass.
I tricked that one out myself. I tricked it out with a grenade hit, which is the secondary fire.
Hmm.
So I went with one of the hits that gives you 100% chance for damage increase, and then I tricked it out with the grenade, which gave me like 25% more damage with grenades or something. It gives you more than one thing. It gives you like a list of like 4 different things for your secondary fire, and then I upgraded the swarm gun too to give me more swarm and like it was like something happens with the swarm. Like if I crit with the swarm, it gives me something else too. It was cool.
The
I
guns are
love
so
that.
cool.
They're amazing, and like, what Ruth said with the way that you select it is so unique, and it actually works really well. Like we've all seen a million times weapon wheels or different ways you go into inventory and grab it. The idea of having it on your wrist and pulling a string like a freaking speaking spell or a seeing whatever they call those things is freaking so cool, and it actually works really well because there's a lot of times I have been in fights, especially early on, where I've had to switch from one weapon to another because I ran out of ammo, and it's pretty intuitive to switch back and forth with your weapons, and the different types of weapons, what they look like, how they're mounted on your arm. I mean, everything is really unique in this game and the way they do it, and um, uh, this is the reason why we said this is a potential for game of the year. This is shit like you would see like out of like Vertigo 2. There's some stuff in here that kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Especially with like the weapons and things you can do in here. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the ripcord weapon selection. After you get used to it, you can like do it without even thinking about it. A lot like your bread and butter weapons are on either end. So like I typically just use the regular gun, which is like I think 2 pulls, 2 clicks, which you can feel with the haptics on the Quest 3. And then the other thing that you really use a lot is the brain link or
Yeah,
whatever
that's
that
cool.
makes you miniaturize, and that's pulling it all the way out. So you can just really quickly pull it all the way out, shoot yourself in a little hole or whatever you need to get into, and then pull 2 clicks to get back to your gun really quickly. And I think I've got what was it, Roots? I got like 5 or 6 weapons now, like
Yeah.
actual guns that I can use.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
like you said, each one's unique. And what's cool about it is watching them, the gun mutate into like the alien form, life form,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Each one of them just not only looks cool when it mutates, but when you're firing, it looks cool as well. I just think that the animations are done very well.
It's a great game. You should pick it up now if you have a Quest 2, Quest 3, Quest Pro. Again, it's on sale for $22 right now, which is dirt cheap. Again, it launched at 35, and when the sale's over in a couple of weeks, it's only going to go back up to 25. So you're not going to be out of a whole lot if you don't get in on this holiday sale. And then again, if you like Roots and you're a PC disciple and you want to wait 6 months to play it on Steam, that's certainly an option because they have now confirmed that it's coming to Steam. I did ask them if there's any plans for PlayStation VR2, and they said they'd like to bring it to PSVR2, but there's no solid confirmed plans
What
at this
about
point.
Oculus Store? Are any plans of bringing it to there with cross-buy? That would be nice. Somebody was saying that, but I doubt it.
I would imagine it would be there already if that was something that they were looking at doing, but you never know.
I'm hoping I don't have to wait 6 months. I'm hoping the dev is like, "Hey, Roots, I want you to check out the Steam version early, and so you can check it out with your
I
4090."
don't think the Steam version is going to be any different than the Quest 3 version, other than um, you might get a little bit better anti-aliasing. I don't think they're going to do like all new textures or anything for it like that. I think it's literally going to be the Quest 3 full resolution Quest 3 version
Well, my thing
on
is
Steam.
I have local dimming and other things
Right.
for the darks, and then just performance wise, I'll be able to. There will be no hiccups at all. It'll just be smooth sailing. Not, and I say that I only had like twice where I felt like I went into a scene and it was like a brief moment. I just want to feel like I'm using the hardware I just bought, you know? So
Yeah. Well, I get you there. Anyway, first half 2024. I mean, that could be in January, I guess, technically. It might not be 6 months, it might be two.
that's true. Either way, if you, however you play this game, Quest or PC, you need to play it. And hopefully it does come to PlayStation VR2 someday, but who knows?
Anyway, much more to come on this game during the 2023 show. Again, so if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed and ring the bell. This is not the last word on Genotype, not by a long shot. So let's talk about some games now, some new headlines of games that we haven't had a chance to play yet because, well, this one specifically is not out yet.
At last. Aim for the center of the chest. And do not be gentle. Soon, these vampires will conclude a ritual, harvesting the blood of thousands, gorging themselves to unstoppable power. Move slow and silent, but not too slow. Gently. Slower. Keep silent. Hold.
Silent Slayer is a fascinating puzzle game premise from the VR puzzle experts. This by Scott Hayden at Road to VR. Shell Games, the studio behind I Expect You to Die VR puzzle series, showed off more of its upcoming VR game, which is all about slaying vampires and, of course, the ever looming threat of a jump scare if you fell. Coming in 2024 to Quest, the new trailer finally shows off some gameplay of Silent Slayer Vault of the Vampire, which the studio initially announced back in June during Meta's Quest Gaming Showcase. Releasing on Quest 2, 3, and Pro, In Silent Slayer, players become vampire slayers and are tasked with quietly eliminating an ancient vampire clan before they wake. Players must carefully dismantle their coffin's defenses using various tools, creating the perfect opportunity to plunge a stake through the heart of the undead foes. The studio says both silence and precision are the key, as one wrong move and the fanged monsters will rise, immediately draining the player's life force. You can now wishlist Silent Slayer Vault of the Vampire. Studio hasn't mentioned a specific release date, saying only that it will come to Quest in 2024. Um, Eric, I don't think I've looked forward to a Shell Games title as much as I'm looking forward to this one, and it's a very similar type of game to what we've seen from them in the past, but the slant on this is very unique. The fact that it's so kind of grim, the situation that you're in, and the way that the game emphasizes precision and being steady and quiet. It seems like a puzzle game that is going to make tension uh, become a big part of your ability to play. It's going to hinder your ability to solve puzzles. Just the amount of tension that the situation is going to create.
Yeah, this is such a good idea, man. Shell Games is really they're really good at these types of games. Number one, but this is like a different. This is almost like Operation meets The Room meets I Expect You to Die meets like a vampire game. It's just a great idea. I mean, the way they're putting all this together, it makes so much sense. And it's actually now that I'm reading more about it and here we're getting more information about it. It's different. It's way different than what I actually thought this game might be when they first announced it. So I'm pleasantly kind of like happy for what the direction they're going with this. And I want more vampire games. We just had a great one just come up by Fast Travel, and I'm looking forward to this one just as well too because we just don't have enough of, which is weird. We don't have enough vampire games represented in VR. So
Yeah, we've said this a lot, Roots, that VR needs vampire games badly. Like we've got a million zombie games, we've got a few werewolf games, we got no vampire games. And even though we got Vampire the Masquerade, which is a great game this past week from Fast Travel Games, that still isn't quite the classic vampire. It's not the Dracula vampire that creeps so many people out over the recent years and decades. What Shell Games is giving us here is a puzzle game that's steeped in classic vampire lore and imagery. And this is what I'm talking about. When I say we need vampire games, we need this type of vampire game. We need wooden stakes and garlic. Don't invite them in your house. That type of vampire game is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the fact that these games are back to back week releases or 2 week releases apart or whatever it's been. And they're completely different games. Like you want vampire games, but you want them to be different. I agree with what Mash was saying. They know what they're doing with puzzle games. And the fact that this just is cool. Who doesn't want to kill a vampire? Like the ultimate end of each thing or whatever, I guess once you get to the thing, the vampires, you get to kill them, right? With a stake. I think that's
Yeah.
cool.
You know who loves steaks? That dude that left that comment last week. He loves
Oh, and my mom. I thought you were talking about tube steaks, different type of steak.
steaks. Tube steaks.
he
Yeah,
only loves steaks.
yeah, she loves it a lot. Yeah.
So Eric, this is the part of the segment where I would typically say, are you the least bit concerned that this is a standalone only VR title? But that's kind of the cool thing about being in the MetaQuest 3 era is we don't have to be concerned about that anymore because as long as this game is enhanced for MetaQuest Pro and MetaQuest 3, um, we should get a pretty immersive, good-looking, polished game from Shell Games.
Yeah, and you're right. And we're seeing more and more of these games that are taking advantage of the not even just the new hardware. We're seeing more and more games take advantage of the later hardware of the Quest 2. like learning this, learning the Quest 2 and learning how to optimize for it and making better and better games as the life cycle ended. And now they've kind of that things have rolled into the Quest 3. They're carrying some of those things over. And again, the same thing will happen as we get into the Quest 3 life cycle. Number one, Quest 2 will die off to the point where we don't have to cater to that anymore. But number two, the developers will get better and better at optimizing for the Quest 3, and we'll have that, that cycle of games getting better and better. So absolutely. I mean, I don't feel like every game has to feel like a mobile game anymore because of the mobile gaming chip in this headset. Like the power of the headset now and the optimization they can do, I feel like, especially looking at a game like we just talked about in Genotype. I mean, that game is amazing and looks great, plays phenomenal. I mean, we should expect more of those games like that. But the problem with those things is when we don't get them. Now I expect them. When we don't get them, I'm going to be more critical, and then we all should be more critical. Like when we don't get the better games and we get sloppy launches, that's when we have to expect more now because the bar has been raised.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anyway, looking forward to Silent Slayer. When it eventually launches, it's good. They say it's coming sometime in 2024. That could mean October. But I don't think it's going to be that long. I think that, and unless they just decide to sit on it, I don't think it's going to take them that long to finish this game. It seems to be in a pretty good state from the footage and from what we're hearing from people that have played demos of it. Um, I think that we'll probably see this sometime first half 2024, but only time will tell. Anyway, as we round out the week's headlines, we have one more to talk about, and this one's very interesting because this is a game that we've played before, but a very different take on it. And yeah, looks pretty cool.
Ah, a new adventure. Grim as the times are, each new beginning still has its charm. Here's your welcoming party. Tread carefully, friend. Though I may not be an expert on the matter, but I recognize evil when I see it. There are traces of magic embedded in this place. Look at that! Use your new powers. Begone! Ha! This should be pretty straightforward, friend. Destroy every servant of darkness.
The Wizards Dark Times Brotherhood remasters the magical adventure this month. This from Henry Stockdale at Upload VR. The Wizards Dark Times will receive the free Brotherhood update this month, adding co-op and other improvements to the spellbinding adventure. Developed by Carbon Studio, the Wizards Dark Times first released 3 years ago, set in the plague-ridden realm of Meloria. Carbon's teased co-op since 2021, and 2 years on, it's happening. Supporting 3 players as either Frost, Fire, or Storm mages, each character features a separate skill tree. The new trailer also highlights visual enhancements. Publisher Vertigo Games describes Brotherhood as a remastered version with expanded content. New enemies and related variants are confirmed. New unique spells are available, while levels feature additional objectives and challenges. Greater environmental interactions like climbing boulders and a trolley cart chase are also mentioned. Finally, Vertigo promises Brotherhood includes, quote, optimized controls for greater ease of use and accuracy. The wording also mentions commanding power with, quote, nothing but hand gestures. While this sounded like Brotherhood would introduce hand tracking support, an email to Upload VR from Vertigo rules this out, stating that sentence refers to gestures made with the controllers. The Wizard's Dark Times is available now on Quest, Steam, and Viport, and Brotherhood arrives as a free update for existing owners.
Ooh.
Previously targeting October 19th, 2 late delays have pushed this back till November 28th. So guys, this is an update to an already solid game that came out years ago. But Roots, we held this at the time as the best gesture-based spellcasting game in VR, and I think it holds up today, um, even still as kind of the champion of that category. The gestures of this game were super precise. There was a wide variety of spells, and it all worked very well and was very intuitive to use. Not to mention that, but the game looked pretty good and featured a fairly decently sized story driven campaign. Um, so basically, what we're getting here is a free remaster and brand new story content, uh, added co op, years down the line, 100% absolutely free.
Yeah, that's the best part, right? Is it's free. Um, it what you said is true. It was already a good game to begin with, and that was years ago. And now they're making it even better, adding stuff, adding content, adding not only content but content in the form of weapons and more gestures and just fine tuning it. I think it's cool. It just shows that they support their game. Like how many games this year have we heard that just like not only did they developers not add anything, they like just ditched out and fucking got rid of servers and said we're done. Which I get, sometimes it happens, but it seems like some developers are just ditching on their games quick. And this has been, like you said, several years, and they're still working on it, making it better. So I think it's really cool.
It's a bit weird, Eric, don't you think? I mean, years on from this game's launch, it gets picked up by Vertigo as a publisher, and they're remaking it, but they're doing it for free. They're making it a more full featured game. Um, I wonder if they're really like planning on selling a whole lot more copies of it,
Mm.
or maybe they're just updating it because of the new platforms that are out this year.
100%. I think that's exactly what it is. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, because it's a lot to put into this game. I mean,
Right.
that's a lot of people probably either already bought or the ones who haven't bought it maybe not are not interested in any way. So who are you going to get here? And the only ones that are the new people. So it's like the new platform, new blood, new people that are just getting into VR who may have never heard of wizards that are all like, all about, oh my God, I can be a wizard in VR and I can this can be amazing. And you're going to get a lot of those new people with the new platform. So it makes sense. Like I think we're going to see more of these games where maybe if they can find some funding to put more into the game, it makes sense to bring some of these older games to life with new ideas. But you have to make them special. Like they have to be unique. And I think they are putting some unique stuff in here. And this is a quite a different game than anything else. And I'm glad that they're putting more work into it. And a lot of people love this game.
Think about this, Roots. This was already a great game, and it was a good looking game on Steam. Not the greatest looking game on Quest, but it didn't look bad by any stretch of the imagination. But think about this game on Steam and how it played and what it looked like, and then it was immediately followed up by Carbon Studios' next title, which was Warhammer Age of Sigmar Tempest Fall, which was one of the most beautiful looking games to this date that we've ever seen. Um, Now, think about that, and then come back to the Wizards Dark Times and the fact that they're remastering this game. Just think about the possibilities for that and what this game might actually look like now playing it on PC.
Yeah, I can't wait. And the beauty is I don't have to pay for it, you know. And you nailed it. Like a lot of studios are probably going to do this, and you will have to pay for it because they won't have the funding. Somebody that's going to jump in and says, you know what, we're going to fund it, and either model to me makes sense, and I think it's good that people are going to get to play this like ourselves that already own it. And I would suggest if you don't own it, pick it up because the first version was amazing. So I would imagine this is going to be even better.
And Eric, as beautiful as Sigmar: The Age of Tempest Fall was on Steam, um, you know, both that game and the Wizard's Dark Times were kind of a step down, a pretty significant step down on Quest. Look good for a Quest game, but still very much a Quest game. I think the potential for the Wizard's Dark Times on Quest 3, I think that's the area where this game has the most potential for improvement. We could get something fairly special, as this is going to be the first real release for Carbon Studios on the next generation Quest.
Yeah, and they have the team to do it. I mean, I love Age of Sigmar Tempest Fall. I think I'm one of the only few that actually like it and played it. But I thought it was a good game, and they know what they're doing, and they continue to support it. And I'm glad they're working with the new platform. And they Carbon Studios is a trusted studio, and I can't wait to see this. I'm glad they're still working on this one, but I want to see what they got next too,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
guarantee they have another game that they're getting ready for soon.
Yeah, for sure. And they did just release one a couple months ago with that Cryman, the Mercenaries Tales. But that was kind of a smaller release. It really was kind of outside the wheelhouse of what we've kind of come to know Carbon for. So you're probably right. They probably have another bigger project on the back burner, especially considering that Vertigo Games is in the mix with them now as well. Anyways, um, this game comes out in just about 2 weeks. Well, this free DLC comes out in just about 2 weeks, so stay tuned. Certainly more to come on this one because I couldn't imagine that we're going to let the opportunity pass to get in and co-op some gesture-based spell casting together when the time comes.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up the week's headlines and bring us into the week's reminders. And we're going to kick it off a little bit differently this week than we typically do. And this is your monthly reminder, ladies and gentlemen, to claim your free stuff. And before we get to the free games on the usual platforms, I want to talk a little bit about something else that's free that might have fell under your radar. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is Virtex Stadium, and Virtex Stadium is currently 100% free on Steam. So what is Virtex Stadium, you might be asking? Well, it's a way to go inside VR and spectate esports, but it's not that simple. I mean, that doesn't sound all that awesome. You can go on to YouTube and witness esports. You know, going into a virtual stadium to watch it isn't going to be much different than going into Meta Horizons and watching, Meta Connect on a flat screen. But that's not what's going on here. Roots, we've talked about this software years ago when it was just a concept, but it's no longer just a concept. What they're doing here is they've put together some proprietary tech that allows you to literally spectate from inside the game. It started with Echo Arena some couple of years ago, allowing people to get inside the arena to watch the match. But of course, Echo Arena being no more, that's no longer the case. They've gone on to cover other games like Valorant. Probably the most notable game that they've covered is Counter-Strike, CSGO. And Roots for CSGO, they literally rebuilt the maps inside the arena and let the spectators zoom down into the match and watch it from ground level. That's pretty fucking incredible.
Yeah. Well, that's what you want with something like this, with like VR in general. Because like you said, I can watch on YouTube. I can watch things on my TV, but on my TV, I'm not going to be zoomed in and be like seeing it from a perspective you could never do, right? Like it's a different, it's what makes that museum of other reality so amazing, right? Anybody that loves art is, you look at art from different angles, right? But you can actually zoom into the thing and it's a completely different perspective. Well, that's what this is. Like you could never watch an esport from any other perspective. This is like a new perspective. I just think it's really cool. It's a very unique idea. It's really is the future, and the fact that they recreated CS:GO for people is super cool.
Live in real time. And here's the crazy thing, Eric, is we're talking about spectating a flat game in full on 3D like it was a VR game. You're going down into it with full spatial audio, with full 3D 360 visuals as if you're in a VR game, but it's not a VR game. This is a flat game.
Yeah, I mean, and this is one of those things where you see esports is a huge thing, but to me, esports gets boring because I don't want to watch it on a flat screen. Like I want to be able to follow my player, my favorite player. I want to be able to see an overview of the entire map. You know what I mean? Because what happens is when they stream esports events, you're seeing whatever stream that one current player is doing, and you never see the overview, and you don't ever feel like you're part of the action. And this, you absolutely can feel like you're part of the action. Like, and this is, Counter-Strike, man, and they are working on having other things in here too. You're going to see virtual reality games represented in here, but you're also going to see some of your favorite flat games that they do esports with represented in here as well. It's not just CS:GO. You're gonna see some other stuff here too. So, people are kind of like freaking out, like, that's a CS:GO map. Yeah, it is. And you can do it in pretty much what feels like 100% VR. And they're getting better and better with it. And they really, really want to flex their muscle in the VR market because you can do this flat. You can,
Yeah.
and get into Vertex Stadium flat, but they really want to push the virtual reality part of it because that's where it shines the most. So this thing's super incredible, and it's free. Everybody should go try it.
Yeah, you can play. You can spectate flat or in VR. It is full crossplay, so the person next to you could be in a headset. They might not be in a headset. It's fully integrated with Ready Player Me, so you can take your kind of universal avatar that you might be using in Neos or Resonite or VR Chat, and take it into Vertex Stadium as well. Um, and they have frequent events in there. So
Mm.
the Counter Strike Go, that was pretty recent. This weekend, they're featuring the League of Legends Worlds, which the League of Legends Worlds is not like the full 3D like you saw with Counter Strike.
That would be
It is,
cool.
yeah,
I
no,
It
want
will
to
be.
be
I
on
think it
that.
will be eventually.
Yeah, I want to go through the jungle, dude. League of Legends is a cool. I think watching the esports for that is actually really entertaining, and to actually be down there would be super cool.
Yeah, so they're selling this as like being in the virtual stadium as if you're in the real life stadium in Korea, which there is happening this weekend.
Wow.
So this past weekend that we're just wrapping up now, I think was the semifinals. Next weekend or next 1 week from today, you'll be able to go into Virtex Stadium and watch the League of Legends Worlds Finals in full VR in the stadium.
Nani is my
Yeah, they have.
character. Who's your character, Mash?
Nice. I have no idea. I've never played
Come
League of
on,
Legends.
Mash. Come on, man.
Come on.
Never played it, but
man.
it looks pretty cool. I went inside, and you can actually. So if you want to see like, what's cool with this is if you want to see live events, they actually have a schedule. So they have a schedule, and they try and because they know it's like it's in Korea, right? But they're trying to have events to where there's live stuff going on for everybody around, in different time zones. So just look at the calendar, man. And you can see like what days are going to be what rounds, what teams are playing and what times. So, you just look at see what a time is and try and make it work with your schedule and get in there and check it out, man. It's
Wow.
super cool, man. And you know what's great about this is the team that did this, that does Virtex or is developing Virtex Stadium, made up of a lot of old, Echo Arena esports players, and they got together and they were super smart and they were coding and they started building something special, and they want to make virtual reality work with this application. So go support it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's free.
pretty cool. They're adapting their Counter-Strike system that they built for CS:GO. They're adapting it right now for Counter-Strike 2. So pretty soon they're going to be looking for beta testers to check that out. So if that's something that you want to participate in, you might want to join the Vertex Stadium Discord. I think that's where they look for beta testers at. Anyway, absolutely free this thing on Steam right now. Probably won't be free forever. So go get it in your library right now while you can. Anyways, let's talk about what else is free. Let's get back to the usual suspects. Remind everyone to pick up your PlayStation Plus titles for the month of November. Pretty good stuff out this week or this month on PlayStation. Although my fucking Sony thing is not doing what it's supposed to right now.
Ooh, Mafia 2 Definitive Edition.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Mafia 2 Definitive Edition, Dragon Ball The Breakers, Ball Breakers.
You know who else
who
is
doesn't
Dragon
want
Ball
it?
the Breakers?
My, my!
Yeah,
Hell
she
yeah.
is. Oh my god. She's
And then
crazy.
Aliens Fireteam Elite. So 3 titles this month. One of them, one of the all-time great games people love, Mafia 2. And again, you're paying for this service. It's free. Claim your stuff. This is your reminder. It was something we like to do every now and then is to make sure people don't forget to get in and claim their free stuff. Speaking of which, Epic Game Store, as usual, every week with a new free title. This week is a title called Golden Light. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it somewhere in between? I have no idea. What I do know is that it's absolutely free, and it's a $20 game that you don't have to pay for right now on the Epic Game Store. So get in there and get your free stuff, ladies and gentlemen. It's a survival horror first-person shooter prop hunt roguelite about meat.
It just came out October.
Yeah, it's a new game.
Yeah,
It's free.
it's free.
Why not get it?
Yeah.
Actually, came out 2 years ago in March, but that's
Mm.
okay.
Oh, the initial release. Yeah, this is the new release is October 14th. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
it's probably early access.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's free. It's a zombie game. It looks pretty funny. And it's free. And who knows? This could be a VR game in 6 weeks. You
That's
know what
true.
I mean?
Well, we're at that point. I was looking at that PlayStation thing and I scrolled down a little bit and there was like 6 games there, and I think all of them except for one have been put into mods. Like it was Ghost of Tsushima and like amazing games. It Takes Two. I know a lot of people say that hasn't came out. Well, it's coming. That's what one of the games I'm really excited about coming to VR.
I love that game.
I love that game too. It's amazing.
Anyway, you have been reminded there's no excuse now. If you don't claim your free games now, it's your own fault.
That's right.
We've done our part. We've done all we can do.
Go get them.
Anyway, let's. I want to talk a little bit about what's out this week, but not without talking first about what came out last week because we didn't do a regular episode last week, and we didn't really talk about some of the significant games that launched into the VR catalog this past week. So why don't we start with that?
Let the battle commence! Let's go.
Ready when you are.
Time to test our strength.
Take this!
Showtime. Let me at 'em.
I wish you luck.
Stand aside. Let's go. Oh, I've lost.
Feel my arrow sting.
I'll end this.
Come on then, time to dance.
Demeo Battles launched this past week onto Steam and MetaQuest platforms. Playable flat or in VR on Steam. Playable in full VR or mixed reality on MetaQuest. Eric, your typical high quality resolution games release here. Of course, you get into it. Well, I mean, I could sit here and say how beautiful it is. I can sit and talk about how good it sounds. I could sit and talk about how polished it is. But the fact of the matter is, you go into this thing, you put the headset on, and it's Demeo. Like, this is Demeo, right? It's a Demeo game.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, you know, there's nothing different here, like of what you're doing, other than you're playing against other players.
Hmm.
So it is Demeo. You know, a lot of your environments are going to be the same, but everything is different because you're no longer just playing against the monsters that are in a dungeon. Now you're playing against a live player who can make smart decisions, who can strategize based on your loadouts and how you do things and how you move and how you play. And that's where it changes things. Like, so if you're somebody who wants to show off your skill in Demeo and your strategy, this is absolutely here. Now, there's a lot to this game that's not just regular Demeo. Like, there is a beginning part where you choose your warriors, and then you get to choose how you spend a certain amount of money. So they give you 1,500 coins. And then in the beginning, you actually have a buy period where you set your entire roundup based on that 1,500 coins. So you can actually go in and you can buy cards that will help you do attacks during the game with your character, or you can actually buy monsters. You can buy some of the amazing monsters that you see in the game, and they will battle for you. And then, you know, again, their dollar value is based on how much damage they can do. So again, you only have 1,500. So the strategy just in the pre-round, the pre-battle strategy, and then you get into the round itself, and then there's a ton of strategy based on how you want to set it up, where you want to go in the dungeon, how you have to maneuver into the dungeon against your opponent based on this ever, you know, shrinking battlefield you have, because there is what's called a burn, which is lava that will start to take over the map that will push you towards your opponent. You know, 1v1 or 2v2, this is a game that's really excellent. And I see Radio Run is all over this thing. Like, he's like, I don't understand. Like, to me, he's saying this is the biggest disappointment of the year. But like, if you knew Demeo Battles was a PvP game, like, how is it a disappointment? Like, I think it is exactly what they said it was, and everything they do here is done extremely well. And, like, it might not be your game, but I wouldn't say it would be a disappointment. That would be a strange
What's
statement.
ironic is the same thing that you guys are saying, and I guess it's different for everybody, that you guys are saying you like about it, the fact that the games aren't 3 hours long. He
Mhm.
says the games are on average about 20 minutes, and that they end too fast. And his biggest gripe of it is the gameplay is boring, and the PvP is unbalanced. Now, but that's the biggest thing. If that's actually true, it could be a problem because it's a PvP game. Now, I don't know anything about the PvP, but so what'll happen is if it's unbalanced, then people will only choose to play certain ways or specific characters. The other ones kind of just sit, or you just get your ass kicked if you decide to pick somebody that sucks. Like if the character uh, particularly sucks. So hopefully that's not the case, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't.
Well,
I haven't played a ton of it, but I mean, I've played probably 6 matches, and every match I've played has been extremely close to the point that me and Wes went in tonight. It was Wes's first time in my probably 3rd or 4th match, and literally he was 1 move away from beating me.
yeah, but I didn't. Eric got me.
Close though. Seriously,
Wes
I
is
mean, it
like,
was
but at
close.
the end of the day, but damn, that's
You're
pretty good for
close.
your first time though, Wes.
Yeah. I have, like Eric said, I haven't played it enough to really comment on the balancing.
Hmm.
I will say this, and this is the concluding paragraph of the article I wrote on it today. Following the game's release, Resolution Games plans to focus on game balancing
Hmm.
with additional content such as a ranked mode and more single player challenges in the pipeline. So, if this is in fact a problem,
They're working on it.
it's not lost. It's not lost on the developer. And following the the type of support that they put into Demeo proper, I got to imagine there's a lot of polishing ahead for this, and probably a lot more content in the pipeline as well.
That's the good news,
Um,
Radio Runt. You know these developers. You said
Mhm.
you love Demeo a lot as well, and so maybe you're going to be the biggest critic. But you also know that if there's issues, they're gonna iron them out, and then maybe it's just not your cup of tea. I mean, the OG Demeo is amazing, right? So
Well, that's what you talked about, Roots. This is you're not a PvP P guy. You'd prefer to do a team base against an AI. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe Radio Orange just doesn't like PvP, and that's fine. You don't have to like PvP. Go play regular Demeo. You know what I mean? Or go play with a two on two. Like I think that changes it. When you're playing 2-on-2 and you're still on a team, that kind of does change the thing a little bit. So it's not just 1v1. Um, so again, yeah, I guess I would just say that to me, I mean, I don't want Radio Run to scare anybody off this game to the point where it's a disappointment. Like, if you're a fan of Demeo and you like PvP, I think what they did here is extremely well done. I don't see how it's a disappointment. They came through and they gave us exactly what told us they were going to give us. Now, you may not like that type of gameplay, and that's fine. But if you're a fan of Demeo and you want
hmm.
PvP, I don't see that it's bad here.
What are your thoughts on what some people are saying in the chat? Radio Runt being the first one to say it, that it should have been a $5 to $10 add-on.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, see, that's my thing.
That's
Is
bullshit.
well,
it's
here's the thing with that
They've
though.
given us way too much for free. We
and
should all just go, "You know what? I'll pay it because
it's
they
a
deserve it."
and it's a completely different game. Like even though it's a card game that's based in the same universe, it's a completely different game, different mechanics, different everything. So, but anyway, go ahead, Wes.
No, I was going to say I could see a lot of people being upset about the pricing because for the longest time people thought that this would be coming as a free update, and I don't know if they ever quite come out and said that or if it was just implied.
Hmm.
But I know in the early days of Demeo, they mentioned that they were working on um, multiplayer for it, like PvP mode. So some people are upset that you have to pay anything at all for it. But I think for the content that's here, if you're okay with paying anything for it, I think $20 is a fair price for it. Because even though I haven't played all that much, I did play enough to see that there's a fair amount of progression to it. Like, so there's a lot of stuff that's locked locked up that I can't access right now. And there's already 10 arenas for this thing. Um, you know, 85 cards. I mean, I could go down the stats. There's a lot to this, and I think that's the reason why it wasn't free update is because there's a lot of game here.
Well, let me ask you this. There's a team, right? They have like an actual team of people that have mortgages and food they have to eat and pay bills and like people act like these devs can just
Dude,
just keep giving me free shit. And you said it, like Demeo gave us so much
they've earned it.
content that I just I get it because we're getting bombarded everywhere you turn, but like these devs shouldn't have to give us a free game, and I agree with Wes. $20 is so fair for a game that you're getting, right? The depth and the quality. So
It's worth the $20. They deserve it. Like literally deserve it. Like they should have been charging this whole time, for all the books they gave us, and they didn't. They didn't charge anybody anything, for all these extra game. Remember, Demeo launched with one board, with one adventure, and they finished
Yeah,
with
and four
five.
and four character, one board and 4 characters.
Right.
right,
And they finished with 5 adventures and how many characters? 7, 8.
There's like 8 or 10 of them.
right.
You know what I mean? We should be like, you know what? Again, I'm the same. Like, I'm just like, I'll pay it. Whatever they were going to do, I'm going to pay it. Number one, I think the game is great. I like the PvP part of it. I've had a lot of fun battling Wes. I had a lot of fun going in there and playing 2v2, myself and Jasmine and VR Central. I'm playing and trash talking that way. We had a lot of fun with that game. There's so much like built into this, like trying to figure things out. There's cards that are kind of like that I think are throwaway cards in regular Demeo that all of a sudden now are not throwaway cards anymore. You can use them like the barricade and things like that that actually can push people in towards the burn, which does a huge amount of damage if you get locked into a spot where you can't get away from it.
It's not nice.
Using the different monsters now, using like ballistas, the heals now are a big deal. I don't know. There's just so much to this game. Like, I mean, I it's for $20. It's a whole new game. Like everything
Right.
is different now. I don't know.
What
I
do you
think it's
what are
worth
your
it.
thoughts on people saying they wish it was one game? They don't mind paying $20. Distracted said they just wish it was like an DLC to the game to make it one package, right?
Yeah, but you guys, it's you can't just keep adding on to one game. The size of this is already too big on its own. They talked about
That's
that. Go
true.
check out. There's interviews out there. Go check out what the development team talked about. You cannot just keep adding on to a game. It doesn't always work that way. And some of the new things would not function with the code of the other games, so they had to make it a standalone game. You know what I mean? So what are you going to do at that point? Just you download a new game.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
I didn't play it enough to really judge how good or not good it is. I will say that it's very polished. I will say that it is Demeo. It's Demeo with a different rule set, a rule set that seems very much geared toward fast games, but getting the match over with. So, for example, there's a Fortnite style border that pushes you in constantly, and the boards aren't that big. So before you know it, the entire board is engulfed in flames, and the match is going to be over. Every other turn, you get a new card. So like you have constantly have new cards coming in for you, so you have to play your cards um, pretty frequently to avoid your hand filling up. You have a minute or maybe slightly more than a minute to make your move when it's your turn. Both of your moves, not just one. You have like it's like a minute 10, minute 15 to make all of your moves. So there isn't much time to think about what you're doing. It's just go, go, go. But at the end of the day, it's the same characters from Demeo. It's the same cards from Demeo, with the same abilities. It's just that the game is structured differently to allow for, player versus player and quick matches. It was very polished. The little bit that I did play, I enjoyed, and yeah, I think I find it surprising that Ramio, that Ramio, Radio Runt, being the fan of Demeo that he is, didn't like it. Like, I find that shocking.
He
to
says
hear.
Challenge him. I'm
it is.
challenging him right
He
now.
says it is polished, and he says he will give it that. It does look good, and I second that challenge. I would love to see Mash, Daddy, because this is the thing, Mash. Radio Runt knows that game inside and out, and it sounds like it would actually be a very good challenge for you to beat him, right? I'd love to see the stream of that right now. Let's get it solidified.
1
I'll
star.
do
He
it.
gave it a
That is
1-star review.
ridiculous. You cannot give this game a
What?
1
He
star.
said
You're out
he
of
said
your
wait,
mind,
he
bro.
said until they do the balance.
my
This is the
God.
thing, okay? So Lincoln Clay, I don't know if he's changed his stance right now, but he's pretty much said he's done with GTA 7, or at least a while back. He because there was aspects of the competitive racing that was broken, right? And so, like, if you love a game and there's unbalancing, and I could totally see where Radio Runt's coming from, and I think the developers need to listen to what he has to say, or
Yeah,
people that like him. If there's unbalancing, and like you said, they're working on it, but you can't have a PvP game that if it's unbalanced enough to the point where the people that love the game are put off by it, that's a problem. And I think that's
it
probably
is
why
a
they're working
problem.
on it. You know,
It is
I
a
don't know what he
problem.
means
So
by unbalanced. Though. Like I don't know like what's unbalanced. Like I don't understand. Like I don't like the different characters are unbalanced, or like one
that,
character is more
that's a good
powerful than the
question.
other. I mean, you can choose any character you want. You could have multiple. You could choose two. Like if you're going 1v1 and you get to use 2 characters, you could choose. I don't know. Can you choose 2 characters at the same character? But I don't know. I mean, you get to choose. So it's not like if your opponent you could like if you're like Wes picked a Guardian and I picked a Guardian, so we both had the same character. So it shouldn't be unbalanced. I mean, if you're saying the characters' powers are unbalanced, I mean, you can pick a powerful character if you choose to. Like, I mean, everybody can. It's not like if somebody picks one, you can't pick that same one if you don't want to.
That's true. Who knows? I mean, this is the thing. I mean, like Wes said, they're clearly stating in their release that they're working on balancing. So they've got to be aware that there's some issue with balancing, and I think Radio Runt should take that as a positive. They're working on it, and you said it's polished. It looks amazing. It's still the amazing Demeo. They just need to tweak it a little bit. So
Anyway, that's enough on Demeo Battles. I had fun in it today. $20 is a pretty modest price, in my opinion, for what you're getting here. And I would think that most people that enjoy Demeo is probably going to enjoy this as well.
I'm taking Radio Runt
Um,
down. I'm gonna kick his ass
you
all
need to
over that
kick it,
Demeo
dude.
board. Ugh. He may hate Demeo
Anyway,
even more after I kick his ass.
as we wrap up talking about a game that was once believed to be a free DLC for an existing title, let's move on to another game that was once believed to be a free update to an existing title.
Nick, you're headed to a city district under control of a dangerous gang called Empire. Stay undercover. Use your parkour skills.
The chaser wants to prove he's the real assassin here.
This district is swarming with drones. Can you handle them? If you want to survive, think like your enemy. Strike from the shadows.
You want some?
Stride Fates came out this week from Joyway. This is the long-awaited story mode for Stride that we've been waiting on since the day that Stride was announced and launched in the early access. But much like Demeo Battles before it, this story mode became much more than just a mode. It became a full-fledged campaign, which became a full-fledged VR game. I haven't played this one yet, Eric, but what I have done is start to read through an article for XR Update that Skiva pinned on this game. And according to Skiva, this is one of the best games that he's played this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's played a ton of it already. He's absolutely loving this game. Um, I've played a little bit of it. I haven't put a ton of time into it. I did want to get in and just kind of check out, the movement system and the story and like, some of the the combat. And it definitely has the beginnings of what I think. And I need to put more time in it, but I see I see why he's saying what he's saying. Like there is enough here where I think, like I said, I need to play more, but I mean there's enough here where I think it gives us what we've asked for from this game from a long time ago. Like when did Stride release? Is it like 3 years now?
Yeah, it's been
I
a
think
while.
it's been a long time. Like, and we asked like from the beginning, we were like, well, we want Mirror's Edge. We don't want just a sandbox or a timed run, a parkour run. We want story and we want more adventure and we want, better gunplay. And, there's a lot of here, a lot of what we asked for, they gave us here. And I want to see more with it, but it feels pretty good, man. The movement here is some of the best movement you'll see. It does absolutely feel like parkour. And once you get all the movement down, it reminds me of kind of like what Hellsweeper is now too, and the different move sets of Hellsweeper. There's so many things to like kind of master here. You can pick them up pretty quickly, but to master this movement and to be able to move through with the combat, um, you know, it, it's pretty good, man. And I can tell you, I think this gives us a feel, Western Roots, of what we think Red Flowers is going to kind of be a little bit like.
Yeah. Well, they there's a level in Stride Fates that they specifically designed after Red Flowers. So, yeah, that's a good call. And this may even be the trailer from that level. But yeah, there's definitely some Ghost Runner vibes going on here. Roots, I think Eric makes a good point. We said that we'd play it when the story content came out. Here it is. I think we have to play it now, don't we?
Yeah, I think I want to play it. Just by looking at the video here and then hearing that Skiva is raving about it, makes me really intrigued to see just how good this game is. I mean, it looks good on so many levels. Yeah, looks really good.
Um, Eric, my only concern with it, and you probably already know what I'm going to say. Um, it's the movement. I didn't particularly care for Stride because of the movement system. I want to run with a joystick. I want to jump with a button.
Mm.
I still don't think they give us the option to do that here, do they?
You can jump with the button. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, you can definitely
You
jump with the
said you
button.
still have to do this, right? Or
You still got to run, I think. Now, I haven't checked the menu for that, but I think you still have to run with your arms when you want to sprint. I will say, though, that the movement is easier than maybe it felt like the original Stride was because you don't have to like move your arms in such a big motion get the sprint going. You can actually kind of just move them a little bit, and maybe it's the tracking being better. I don't know, but it seems like you can just move them a little bit and get through through it much faster. It's not as exaggerated of a movement that it felt like before. But yeah, the jump button is there. I would like to see joystick movement as well. But
I'm
hopefully.
I almost don't want to play it if they don't put the joystick in there. Like this isn't 2016. I'm not. What was that one fucking race game that everybody loved from?
Sprint Vector.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sprint
Sprint
Vector,
Vector. Oh my God,
and I
remember that?
couldn't stand it. I don't want to swing my arms. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do a less exaggerated version of it. Just let me use the joystick. It's there. I'm already using it, right? Like, what is the point of making me do that movement some people are really put off by that, like, and kind of see it as kind of hokey. I just don't want to do it. And so
I'll try it. I'll try it based on again the words of Skiva and Eric. I do think that the footage of the game looks cool. It looks like it could be a very fun game, so I'll try it. But yeah, I'm like you, Roots. I'm skeptical of whether I'll actually be able to play it like that. But we'll see.
It helps that the jump there's a jump button now, and you don't have to
Yeah.
like
why go
swing your
halfway?
arms up. You know what I
Why
mean?
go halfway? Why
Yeah.
why give me the jump button and not give me the sprint button on the, like, what's the point? I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I can tell you this: it does feel fairly intuitive to do it. I'm not a big fan of it either. I hated Sprint Vector, and I am not a big fan with it either. And I do wish they had joystick, but it didn't put me off in any way. Like I was like, oh, this just sucks. I don't want to do this at all. Like when you get going with it, and like I said, it's quick to pick up the movement, but it is like there's some stuff you have to learn, just like any game, any good game. But once you get it, I mean, it's super rewarding feeling because you do feel like a badass moving through these levels. And I played it seated. And I just kind of put the arms down on my chair, and I had no problem with the movement moving around. So I don't think it's like I said, the movements are not very big, so it's not like it's not like Gorilla Tag where you feel like you're, or some of the other games where you have to swing your arms. It's not as pronounced as that. But yeah, I get you. I wish they had put the option in there for people that didn't want it.
They still could. Joyway,
and they
you're out
might.
there.
And
Please,
yeah, they might.
please do it.
One star until they give me what I want.
Yeah, and let's just
One star
trash the
Radio
car.
Runner.
Yeah, I'm not
One star,
not
what,
not
think
saying
about
to
the
do
games
that
we
for
give
sure.
1 star to. He's giving Demeo Battles 1 star.
Well, and this
Score.
is the thing too. You got to remember, like, this is somebody that loves Demeo. It's their favorite game. So
Yeah,
like that's not coming
1
from some
star.
person that
I give like a broken game 1 star that I can barely run. Like,
Well,
1 star. Like
maybe he considers it broken because it's unbalanced. I don't know. Apparently, you guys said it was amazing, so
I question
or
his
really
soul.
good. Yeah, we question your soul, Radio. Don't die.
All right, so that's what was out last week. What could come out this week that would possibly top such wonderful VR titles?
Nexus is the first game in VR for Assassin's Creed. So it's the first time that you can play Assassin's Creed in first person. It's the first time you can play multiple assassins in the same game. So across 3 different settings, 3 different assassins, and the full range of iconic AC actions like Hidden Blade, Stealth, Combat, Leap of Faith, Parkour, Climbing, Throwing Knives, all these types of weapons, the Tomahawk of Connor, all of that stuff we put in the game because we really wanted to make it a true AC experience. Parkour is obviously one of the iconic AC actions that we think players are going to be really excited to do in Nexus. Running across the rooftops in large open urban areas is something that really is so fundamental to the brand that I didn't feel like we could compromise on it. So the team has done some amazing technical wizardry to allow the player to basically approach all these maps from 360 degrees. You can see it, you can climb it, you can parkour it. So from Venice to Greece to Boston and even new areas like Newport for Connor, they're all what we call open map environments. The player can traverse on the ground, scale the walls, climb the rooftops.
VR allows you to perceive depth in the environment beyond, when you play on a TV screen, on a normal screen. This is really defining for Assassin's Creed, and the way you can look at the environment and see all obstacles and buildings and basically everything you can see that you think you can grab on, you can in-game. So it's really intuitive as well and organic.
When you look at the world in Nexus, you see basically handholds, 90-degree surfaces that you can grab. So you're actually using your hands, you're pulling yourself up the side of the building. There's flinging, so you can actually throw yourself up sideways, even backwards, like across a street, which is really cool to do. There's sort of feet-to-feet jumps where you're landing and you keep going. Then there's feet-to-grab jumps, so you jump, you have to grab, mantle, and keep going. Or there's, these these swing bars. You're sprinting, you're parkouring, you jump, you grab the swing bar, you do this gesture, just like you would in real life, which is what VR is all about, right? Trying to simulate the actual experience, and then you keep going in that flow. It is a stealth-first game, sneaking around, peeking around corners with even something as simple as like grabbing the corner of a building and pulling your camera, your head over and kind of leaning and peeking to see an enemy. We've even built in things like cracks and holes in the walls where you can kind of peek through there, and it's a use of head tracking there, but you feel really sneaky and you're spying on the guards in the other room. In the environments, you'll have dynamic objects, a vase, whatever. You can pick them up, you throw it, it'll crash on the ground and make a sound and distract a guard that way, and you're actually doing the physical throw yourself. One of the features that we've had, that we've always been really excited about, is the whistling feature. So you do this with the gesture, you make a ring with your hands and you bring it to your mouth area, we're tracking your hand position, and you hear the assassin whistle, and that will call the guard over, and you can stab them in the bush and pull them in, or whatever it is that you want to do. The Hidden Blade, I would say, is the most important feature in the game, really, if I had to pick one. You pull the top trigger on the controller and you flick your wrist open and the blade comes out. Everybody who tried it, it was always their favorite thing in the game. As we know, Connor and Ezio both have dual hidden blades, so we featured that in the game. But what is really neat about Nexus is this is the first time that players will get to play Cassandra with her hidden blade. And she has just the one blade because we want to, be true to the story, true to the canon, true to the character. Well, there's obviously combat, and you can try and fight your way out of situations.
It's really motion control, so you slash your sword, you move yourself forward and back, and you can dodge a bit on the side.
It's really blocking, attacking, and what we call opportunity windows. So when you block, an enemy will come and swing their weapon at you, and you need to physically put your sword or tomahawk in the way of it and block just like you would imagine it happening in real life. Then you'll stagger them and create this opportunity window that you can then follow up with strikes and do more damage. We want to create this sense of fighting like a master assassin, but it's going to take time to learn it because you're actually doing your physical gestures and having to time things. They all have a primary weapon. Connor has the tomahawk, Ezio and Cassandra both have a sword. They all have some kind of ranged weapon. Connor and Cassandra both have bows, and Ezio has the one-handed crossbow. They all have throwing knives and smoke bombs. So you feel familiar and comfortable playing these assassins with the sort of core weapon set that they have, but there's also some nice specialization of who they are. So once you've learned the basics of combat as well as the advanced combat moves, you can put this all together and take out a group of enemies master assassin style. So for example, you come in from a rooftop, you air assassinate the first enemy, take your throwing knife to finish the second one, pull out your bow, take down the third one, and then draw your sword or tomahawk and engage the last one in combat and finish with a hidden blade lunge. Another iconic AC experience is, of course, air assassination, right? It's really thrilling to do in VR and in first person. So there's even some additional nuances that are part of it. So for example, if you're sprinting, your air assassination distance will be increased. So you can sprint to the edge of a rooftop, hit the button, and fly further and have even a more dramatic, long jump kind of kill. Even using the bow as you jump into the air assassination, that slow-mo that we turn on can give you enough time to fire an arrow in midair like a badass master assassin.
So comfort for VR is really essential, it's key because we don't want them to feel any nausea. That was a priority from the start. Luckily, I've been working on this subject for quite many years. There is lots of options to make full locomotion in the world comfortable. There is vignettic system, there is a tunnel vision. It's quite effective to make the game comfortable. We also have a teleport locomotion feature which allows to remove completely locomotion through the space if you need or if you want. Auto parkour is one that allows basically parkour to be done automatically, so you just have to look where you want to go. You are going to see previews of the jumps you're going to make, and you don't need to press buttons, you don't need to do particular actions, but we had to make sure that it still feels like Assassin's Creed and it still feels like you are doing parkour and you are making the choices. Also doing the leap of faith. That's amazing in VR. Might not be for everyone, or it might be fearful for some people. We developed that feature called Fear of Height, so it allows you to turn on and off some grid to basically show you what's the ground in your real play space. Or you can even toggle a 3D grid around you, and It allows you to understand that actually your ground is very close by, so it helps people that might be afraid of heights, even if you can't reach out, or it's uncomfortable to reach out over your shoulder, or it's uncomfortable for you to hold buttons, or things like that, then we have something for you. We try to really develop many features to make the game fun and enjoyable by everyone through testing of comfort and accessibility of the game. We've seen that almost everyone can be comfortable with the game. There's a feature for them because we developed lots of comfort features and we developed lots of accessibility features.
Yeah, people ask the question a lot of like, how do you play 3 assassins in 3 settings in the same game and have it make sense narratively? So the idea is that you're an elite player hacker that is undercover for the Brotherhood and is now working for Abstergo. Dominica Wilk is the main character from Abstergo who has you jumping through memories of 3 different assassins who have at some point in their lives encountered these artifacts that Abstergo is looking for. She's actually played by Marina Baccarin, which is really exciting for us. It is a new story. It's not a port of these previous games or assassins. But at the end of the day, the biggest, most fundamental pillar of the game that we want to deliver to fans is becoming a master assassin, right? Physically stepping into the shoes of these characters and performing all those actions you watch your avatar do over the years, physically doing it yourself. And that is the real fantasy of Nexus, is actually being a master assassin yourself.
November 16th, son, the day has finally arrived for Assassin's Creed Nexus to make its way to MetaQuest 2 and 3. Roots, how long have we been talking about this fucking game? People thought it would never come. People literally thought that this game would never come.
I thought it was
But
canceled.
here we are.
I thought at one
Yeah.
point it was canceled. Splinter Cell got canceled. We didn't know that, this was not confirmed. And yeah, at least it's here. And like Radio Runt says, it looks amazing. I'm not invested in the Assassin's Creed worlds. I was hoping for like more like this huge world, open world adventure Assassin's Creed style, and but I don't know. I don't have any concept of what that is, so I don't even know what I'm talking about. But it looks amazing. I think this might be better than I thought it was going to be.
Instant GOTY candidate, most likely, Eric. I hate to overhype it, but we've heard a lot of people that have had a chance to play this game, and some of which were not expecting it to even be all that great. But it's been pretty unanimous coming out. People are saying that this is an incredible game.
Yeah, and I'm always on the fence with these games because I want them in one hand and I'm so afraid of them in the other. Like I was the same way with Ghostbusters. Like I want Ghostbusters. I want these big AAA IPs to come to VR, but I'm so afraid if they come to VR and they don't show well that it can actually do more harm than good. And that's what I've always been worried about with this title too. And I can tell you that I have not played the whole game, but I played a good significant demo at MetaConnect and I was blown away by the movement, the visuals, being able to feel like I'm playing a real Assassin's Creed game and not just, you know, um, a fake VR version of it. Um, Absolutely was there for what I saw, and some other people I've talked to who have played more of it have absolutely been blown away. So I feel more comfortable with this game, moving, going in than I have for any other, IP in a long time. So I'm absolutely looking forward to getting more hands-on time in my place
Mm.
playing this game. I think we're all gonna be blown away by this one.
Did you just say you IP for a long time? Oh,
IP. You
Matt.
know who likes to pee for a long time?
My mom!
Yeah, she does. And Derail says that's a question for my mom. I think it's how looks fantastic, but how deep, how long?
My mom!
Oh yeah, that is a question for her. Yeah, I don't know. I think it looks amazing. But I am wondering how deep and how long this game is going to be, and that will determine how amazing it is in the long run, obviously. But I think it looks really good, and what you're saying sounds amazing, Mash.
Well, Ubisoft's out there calling this a full-fledged Assassin's Creed title in VR. They're not being shy about it. There are 15 and 20-minute gameplay videos available on YouTube right now for those who want to see what the game is and get a good idea of what's happening here before they throw their money down on it. This is not Firewall. This is not Ghostbusters. Not letting people see the game before it's launched. Ubisoft's putting it out there on Front Street, and
They don't even have
that gives me
pre-orders.
confidence.
Yeah,
Well,
they're not.
that's probably why.
Yeah. So
Yeah. But that's not all that's out this week. Pavlov Shack making its way out of App Lab onto the main Quest store this week. A lot of people excited about this. A lot of people saying that that's very good. Um, it of course is a standalone version, and by standalone I mean not crossplay. PC and PlayStation VR have full Pavlov, while this is kind of a watered down standalone version of it. People are still saying it's pretty good.
yeah.
Paradiddle coming out this week. It's basically piano vision for drums. So if you want to learn how to play drums and do it through the magic of mixed reality, you can do so. And much like piano vision, you can plug in MIDI instruments. You can upload your own MIDIs into it. It's got a number of tracks available to play and learn, and a lot of tools in there for you to do your own music. So pretty impressive looking little app coming to Steam and Quest. And for those out there who don't have a Quest and are bummed out because they need something to play this week while everyone else is playing Assassin's Creed, Rooms of Realities drops this week. This is from Game Dust, the studio who brought us other titles such as Jupiter God 1 and 2 and Never Out. This Roots is a collection of escape rooms, and I know you kind of dig escape rooms. The thing that makes this one's particularly cool though is it's co-op, so you can get in here with a couple friends and take on this escape rooms together.
That's pretty cool, man. That's one of the things. I mean, most people in real life don't go to escape rooms by themselves. So I think that's actually a very unique thing about escape rooms in VR. Super cool.
Yep. Collection of 3 here, launching on PCVR and Quest on the 17th. And then for those of you out there playing on PlayStation who are bummed out because you can't play Assassin's Creed and you can't play Rooms of Realities, you get Tiger Blade. I mean, Eric, that's something, right? They get Tiger Blade.
Yeah, Tiger Blade. I don't know. Looks Tiger Blade.
It's just like Assassin's Creed. They both have
Kind of. It's
swords.
Tiger Blade, man.
Yeah.
No, this is a stationary action game. It puts you through different scenes and you kind of move your way through it. It's like it reminds me a little bit to look at the footage of like a pistol whip, although this is not a rhythm game. It's not a shooter. This is kind of like a samurai ninja type game that's like fast paced action arcade style game. It looks like it could be cool, but I'm taking a wait and see approach with it. I'm gonna get my hands on it before I decide whether or not it's good. But some of the gameplay footage looks cool.
I guess it was delayed until December 21st, Tatum says.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
Uh-oh.
that's news to me because I literally just checked this release thing today, and it was
Maybe it just
still being
happened.
listed. Maybe. All right. Well, good. Maybe it'll be a better game in December. So sorry, PSVR gamers, you got nothing this week.
You got Bad Dreams next week, though.
Yeah, that's actually very Bad Dreams. The PlayStation version of Bad Dreams is coming out next week. Has exclusive content in it.
Really?
It's got new chapters and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that quite a bit, actually, because I like Bad Dreams on Steam. I thought it was a good game. Anyways, that's the week's releases. Assassin's Creed obviously being the crown jewel, but Pavlov and Rooms of Realities, nothing to sneeze at, nor is Paradiddle. I mean, it's a pretty solid week for VR as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eric's favorite cookie run comes out in 2 weeks.
I cannot wait. Cookie Run: A Knight's Tale or
The
something like that.
Darkest Night.
The Darkest Night,
Chapter
Chapter
1.
1.
Chapter
Yeah, it's the
1.
longest title ever.
It's cool.
There you
Cookie
go.
Night. Did you guys watch the trailer for that?
I did not, but I'll tell you
You
what.
gotta
I
watch the
did.
trailer. It looks phenomenal.
I'll tell
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
just looking at the picture, it looks pretty cool.
Looks pretty good. Looks like a polished like platformer action type game.
Yeah.
Don't look bad. Anyway, we're quickly coming to the conclusion of this week's episode. So before we sign off, let's take a look at a few viewer comments. Escape Portal kicks us off this week with this comment that says, "Amazing show as always, my friends. I'm curious, how is Dungeons of Eternity any different than After the Fall in the fact that there's no end game? All you do is loot and repeat in After the Fall, and the only difference is that DOE doesn't have static levels, has a much deeper looting and progression system, and far wider combat variety enemy types. You guys loved After the Fall, and it's essentially the same gameplay loop with much more to offer. No, there's more differences than that. And for what it's worth, we did love After the Fall, but we are done with it now for the most part. We don't go back and play it all that much. But there are differences. The biggest being obviously that one is a melee based dungeon crawler and the other one is a zombie shooter. That's the biggest difference. The other big difference is that one looks pretty good for a standalone game and the other is pretty close to AAA level production values. That's another big difference. I would say that they're very different games. I mean, the things that you pointed out that are similar about them are similarities, but other than that, they are very different games. And I'm more of a guy that likes to run through levels and shoot zombies in the face, as opposed to a guy who, takes their sword or their axe or their crossbow and shoot um, enemies that look like they look all right, but I mean, there's no question that you're in a standalone game when you're playing it. Um, anyway, I'm not trying to say that Dungeons of Eternity is bad. It's actually quite good, but it's not as good as After the Fall in my book. Um, and that's just me on my based on my personal taste. Eric, what do you think?
I don't know. I don't think it's as good as After the Fall, but I think it's a great game. Like, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, to me, I I put hundreds of hours into After the Fall. I've gotten every bit of money out of that game that I spent on it, plus some, plus a lot. I mean, so to me, I mean, that is an all-time great game, and this could possibly be an all-time great game too. I've got probably 30 hours into this game, 20 or 30 hours. I mean, I love it. I mean, I don't want to compare the two, but I mean, I think After the Fall again it's a bigger studio. It is a AAA game on every platform, and this is a little bit more. What's that?
Better haptics.
Yeah.
It's got 4-player squads versus 3. It's cross-play across every major VR platform versus a Quest only game. I mean, there's lots of differences. They're not at all the same game.
No, but it doesn't diminish one game over the other. Like, I don't think it's a fair comparison, but I'm not going to diminish, Dungeons of Eternity because it's not After the Fall. Like, to me, it's not fair to compare the two. I think Dungeons of Eternity is a fantastic game that everybody should absolutely try, and I'm currently having a blast in, and I have not lost interest in that game at all. I'm in there quite a bit. Betty has been playing. There's a huge part of our community has been playing it and is still playing it. Wes, your wife has put how many hours into this game? It's an
A
excellent
lot.
game, especially
Plays
if
it
you
every
like
day.
playing. Yeah, especially if you like playing with other people. This is a game that you can get into and have a blast in with other people, and we'll have to see down the road whether they can sustain interest for these people that are enjoying it now.
Yeah,
agree.
my thing is I nothing's different for me. It's the end game isn't there except for with After the Fall. I I just played it more. I don't know. My thing, I think it's a really good game. I just don't have much interest in it because I know that there's nowhere. I'm not going anywhere with it, and I'm kind of in a stage where I'm not wanting to spend a bunch of time in in multiplayer with other people. Like I go in stages. Sometimes I want to be in multiplayer all the time. Other times I want to do more solo stuff. Um, and so I feel like I hope they have something in mind because you know we have a lot of people like Betty and I think probably Shell as well are probably getting close to max level as much as they're playing, right? And so what do you do when you get to 50? Are you going to go run around with all your people that are friends that aren't 50? I think that wouldn't be fun if there's no real reason to be in the game, right? I think you'll run into a wall and
Well,
we're
for her, yeah, for her specifically, it's more about the multiplayer than it is even the game. Like when After the Fall was out, she was all in on After the Fall. And then when Guido became part of the friends group, all he could play was Walkabout, so it was Walkabout forever. And now Guido can also play Dungeons of Eternity, so now it's Dungeons of Eternity.
right, but if you get to max level, that will only go so far. You'll move on to something else, multiplayer. You know what I mean? It won't be enough to be in there at some point if there's no other reason to be in there. And I'm not knocking the game because I mean, how many hours do they have? And they're not 50 yet, so you're getting your money's worth. So
Yep. Yeah, I was just answering the question. I agree, Eric. It's not a fair premise, but it was the premise of the question. Um, he asked, "What's the difference?" And I say, "There's a lot of differences." Main fan says, "Wes, is your Quest 3 at max brightness? It defaults to lower. I've never seen a PSVR 2, but Quest 3 doesn't seem so dim to me when it's at the max." I checked, and you're right. It was at about 75%. And I went ahead and maxed it out, and that did help a little bit. It's definitely not as dull now as it was before. I wouldn't by any means consider it to be like super bright and colorful now, but it's definitely better than it was. So thank you, main fan, for pointing that out to me. That was very helpful. Corporate Zombie. It says your games of the month are per platform. You need to decide whether PSVR 2 is a different platform than PSVR. If so, then it needs a PSVR 2 nomination, but I don't think it is a new platform. I think PlayStation is the platform, and that PSVR 2 is just the headset. The same way that PC is the platform, and not excluding games that don't run okay on G2, for the example. Quest is the platform, and some games don't run on Quest 1, but the platform is Quest. So your question really is Quest 3 a new platform to Quest 2? No, it isn't. Game of the year should be a this year game, in my opinion. A game could be considered for game of the month if it is new to the platform, or exceptionally if it is a new remake or remaster. So yeah, you're mostly correct there. I do think that ports, last gen ports, or not really from the same platform, but a PC game coming to PlayStation, a PlayStation game coming to PC, even if it originally launched in a year prior, should be available to win that platform's game of the year. And that's the way that we do it. But for the overall game of the year across all platforms, that game must be a this year game. And again, I think 99% of what you said there is correct. And that's the direction that we decided to go last week.
yep.
Bad Robo 82 says, "This is my hot take. Propagation Paradise Hotel has graphics comparable to Red Matter 2.
There you go, Mash. There you go.
Excuse me, I almost
It,
died.
it runs at 120 frames per second, native, and is one of the sharpest games on PSVR 2. The quality of the textures is only slightly worse than Red Matter 2, and considering how many enemies Propagation Paradise Hotel has and how detailed and well animated they are, and all of the mechanics related to it, it is at a similar technical level to Red Matter 2. And I recommend playing on hard. Then the 4 hours needed to complete the game turns into 6 or 7 hours. The game is really great and surprises me with something new every time. Jump scares are implemented unobtrusively, and the overall pacing of the game is very good. Never had a moment yet for a zombie to wake up and be headless, as Eric says. If you cut a zombie's leg off, if you cut off a zombie's legs or arms, it will crawl. Moreover, once you immobilize a zombie, you can cut off its legs and arms while it's laying down. For me, it's definitely the game of the month, or maybe even more. To this comment, Void Citizen replies, "Wow, it makes me wonder if there's a difference in our hardware. Haven't played Red Matter 2 on PlayStation VR2, but for Red Matter 1 on VR2 looks a lot better than Paradise Hotel." Bad Robo replies, "Void Citizen, you have to take into account all aspects of the game. The textures are sharper in Red Matter 1 and 2, but only a little, and it depends where. When it comes to the complexity of the levels, both are at a similar level. In Red Matter 1 and 2, you have corridors and rooms that are a bit larger than in Propagation Paradise Hotel. But in Red Matter, there are practically no enemies. And in Propagation Paradise Hotel, there are a lot of them, and they're really well done. Many elements in Propagation Paradise Hotel can be moved and are interactive in Red Matter 2. Red Matter has slightly better lighting, but Propagation Paradise Hotel is really dark and the graphics are not that visible, only when you look closely. Both games run at 120 frames per second, and Red Matter is a bit sharper. But as I said, in Red Matter, there are practically no AI and enemies that take up a lot of the hardware resources. I could make a really good video that shows the graphics in both titles, and you'd be surprised. Propagation Paradise Hotel is a horror game, and no one really looks at the graphics, but I pay a lot of attention to it. And lastly, one more comment, one more reply to that from Jonathan. He says, "This times 1,000, game of the year for me." Eric, I know you hate this title. A
I
lot
do
of
hate this title.
people, a lot of people love this title, and while I wouldn't go as far as what Bad Robo says here, it is a very good looking, very well animated game on PlayStation VR, and I think that a lot of people who haven't really spent that much time in it on PlayStation VR underrate it as such. But as you can see, there are people out there that absolutely love this game and are putting it in the game of the year conversation.
Yeah, I mean, hey, everybody has their own opinion of games. You know what I mean? And that's if you love this game, you love this game. I hear you. I don't think it's a very good game. It's not just about the visuals. I don't think the visuals look that good on PC. I am more impressed with the visuals on PlayStation. I think I said last week that this is the absolute way I would recommend that you play this game. I have played this game all the way through twice and beat this game. And to me, making a game harder on difficulty to make it longer is not necessarily better. Like to me, I don't know. I want to see more gameplay. I don't want to see just a harder difficulty to add hours to it. You know what I mean? So that's not exactly what I'm looking for. And I think I did say that one of the cool things I like about this title is that the zombies never die. I don't think I ever said that the zombies come back with their heads off. I like that the fact that they don't die. You can shoot them in the head and they don't. They'll still come back. Like different more. It's different than any other zombie game.
What kind
Other
of
than that, I don't like this game.
do you guys feel? I feel like you were reading that, Wes, I felt like a sucker. I'm like, why did I not cut their fucking legs off? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
know, right?
I could have cut every zombie's leg off, and then they can't come after you. Like, what are they gonna do? Crawl at me? Ooh, like, oh man, I missed an opportunity.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get to go back in. They said that they're not done with it. Now, I'm sure the next one will be a sequel. It won't be like DLC or anything. But this story is far from over, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping Owen comes back. I know it's probably not likely, but at least
Love
the
Owen.
actor.
Owen Zombie. He's gonna be
Yes.
crawling after you.
For
He's got no
real.
legs.
Oh, it's right. Okay, let's
They
say, yeah,
ripped
we'll
his
see
legs
it.
off.
Yeah.
Spry Guy says, I wasn't awake to take the Game of the Month poll for Quest. My vote would have gone to Dungeons of Eternity. Your vote would have made it closer, but the truth of the matter is that Genotype pulled away from it pretty well at the end. So
Deservedly.
I was gonna say I'm
Yeah.
okay with it. I mean, I love both games, but I'm okay with the Genotype winning that game, man. It was really good.
I was
Really good.
surprised. I was surprised. I honestly thought that Dungeons would be the overwhelming favorite and that I would be in the minority on that, but not the
It,
case.
it very well could be game of the year for multiplayer. I mean, people are loving it that much. I just don't think it stands up to a game like Genotype as far as how much depth it has to it, and
Yeah.
you know, even and that's crazy because there's a lot of depth to that game.
A different type of depth when
Correct.
you're talking about weapon variations and like endless looters. Like it's a different kind of depth.
Yeah, true.
Uh, Last comment, Rob Harv says, "Great show as always, guys. I have no idea how you all function on the following day after going to sleep so late.
Well, we're gonna find
Have you
out.
all evolved? Have you all evolved to function with 3 hours of sleep? So the way it works for me is I go a few days on 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, and then eventually I hit a wall. Typically around Friday or Saturday, and I just have to fucking crash out for the most of the day to recover. And yeah, I don't have like a regular sleep schedule. My workload determines when I sleep. I sleep when I can. And the front end of the week is typically the worst because we sit up doing this show, and then Monday's always the earliest, busiest day. But it goes downhill for the rest of the week. So Monday will be the busiest. Tuesday a little bit less so. Wednesday a little bit less so. Thursday you start to feel like you can breathe a little bit, and then Friday's your first real kind of opportunity to step back and kind of uh, admire the things that you've accomplished over the last few days. So sleep. Yeah, what's sleep? We get it we get it in when we can.
It's the opposite for me on Mondays because I have a half day for the crew cast, and I get off
You
by
think
like
you're better than me?
yeah. This man
legitimately thinks that he is
so.
better than
Although
us.
I'm tired. There's only like 3 or 4 hours last night of sleep. I was messing with that AI mod for trying to get. I really wanted to talk to Tony West. Like he was ignoring me, bro. He's supposed to be my partner. That motherfucker.
How dare he?
How dare you?
How dare you?
All right, so moving on to our next reminder. This is the part of the show where we ask all of you to just take a moment of your time and a couple of clicks to support our developer friends out there by wishlisting a game. Could be a game you've already played, could be a game that you've never played and that you really want. The idea here is to help out our friends who make these awesome games for us and put a little shine on them on the storefront. This week, I have decided to wishlist Genotype on Steam, a game that I've already played over halfway through on Quest. But the Steam page is live for this game. So we're going to do my part to kind of get the word out there by just clicking that link. You'll find it in the description below, and then clicking add to your wish list. And just like that, we're all done. See, easy peasy.
I did the
Is that
same
so
thing.
hard?
I did the Assassin's Creed Nexus.
Because Ubisoft needs our support.
Yes,
They do, man. I'm just worried about them if they can't get this thing out here.
I want to make sure they know there's interest in the game. Just remind
All right,
them. Of
now
that.
I'm going to skip the little segment there on 2023 show as we covered that at the top. Again, everyone, anyone who wants to help kind of chip in and make that show the greatest VR podcast of all time to date, please tag me up on Discord or send me an email, and we'll certainly take your help. We appreciate it very much. And that brings us to our final reminder this week and every week, and that is how you can support us, our channel, our community. You can, of course, the best thing that you can do, if you haven't already, and I don't know why you wouldn't have already, but a lot of you haven't subscribed yet. We're 300 away from 4K, and that's our goal for the year. We want to hit that by the time we hit the 2023 show. So, if you would be so kind to click the red button and ring the bell, we would very much appreciate it. And share it with a friend. If you have a friend that's in the VR, if you have a friend that's in the mom jokes, send it their way too. And if everyone that watches our episode would just click the button, then we'd be well over
Oh my God.
4K a long time ago.
Heck
But
yeah.
for some reason, some people just don't want to click it.
We gotta earn it, Wes. We haven't earned it yet. I'll tell you what, it makes sense though. I do it all the time. I just have a hard time just subscribing willy nilly to people's channels. So I get it.
Yep. I get it too. But if you are subscribed and you want to do something extra, you can support us on Patreon, where for as little as $3 per month, you'll get access to our weekly show notes, insider updates, exclusive content. You'll get your name in the little ticker at the end of the show, and you'll get to join us at the end of the year as we pick the winners of the 2023 show awards. All that for less than $1 per week, and you get to feel good about yourself knowing that you helped us to do things for this channel that we otherwise would never be able to do. So thank you out there to all of our patrons, everyone who leaves super chats. You all are awesome, and we very much appreciate it. But you don't have no damn money. That's certainly understandable in 2023. Well, the good thing is you don't need no damn money to join us on Discord. You'll find an invitation link in the description below, and it is 100% free. We're on there talking about VR games. We're on there talking about life, taking on police chases together, sharing music, sharing jokes. Again, 24/7, 365. We're in there lurking at all times. Click the channel, join the family. We will greet you at the door, I assure you.
Come home. We miss you, right? So
yeah.
We'll leave the light on. For you.
Yeah, we'll leave the light on.
I'm thinking it's time that we do roll for police chases. So how this would work is you just have to go click on the little icon for the police chases. Then you get the police chase roll. And then when Ryan Brannon or someone sees a police chase, instead of having to tag Roots and tag Wes and tag D and tag Radio Runt, all he has to do is write at police chase, and then everyone would be tagged, and people who normally don't get in on the fun would be able to easily join in. So I'm thinking maybe we start doing some reaction rolls on the Discord.
That's a good idea.
Yes. Anyway, that said, friends, that's our show for this week. I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Roots and Eric, I'm Wes. We'll see you all very, very soon. Bye.
Take it easy.
See you later.